There we go.
What's up, everybody? This is CBSI Presents Tales from Flipside number 11. I'm Dino, and I can't upload the podcast anymore. So, guys, introduce yourselves.
It's Ben S. from comicbookinvest.com. Hello?
I'm not John Z. I'm Scott Reagan.
What's up, guys? This is Brian with SimpleMansComics.com.
Hey, guys. Pete Ups here. And like you heard last week, my dick works, so pat on the back.
Is that all, or do we have anybody else that needs to be introduced?
Z's lost in Echo Land, I think.
Technical
But no, I wanted to start off last week. I was absent, but you bastards forgot to mention something very important. Flipside breaking news, which was that Patrick Stewart is playing the poop emoji in the Emoji Movie. I put that on the outline, and it was left off. I don't know what was wrong with you guys. But
I don't think we didn't know what it was.
Yeah, I didn't
breaking
know
news.
Like, what the hell is the poop emoji?
Oh, I have to apologize. I'm just apologizing to the audience for us, but no, for Brian Wood was the brains behind that cartoon topic, and what I meant by unicorn was not My Little Pony, but I was trying to say if there were any shows that had a remake that were better than the original.
Oh,
That's what I meant.
That makes more sense.
Oh, and everybody's alcohol-induced madness. They thought I was talking about revealing myself as a brony, which is not true. Got to get that out there.
You sure about that?
Hey, Rockman look cool.
Trey's trying to convince me, but I haven't. I don't know. It must be an Oklahoma thing.
You know what it is? You just need to embrace it, Paul.
I guess. Yeah. Saddle up.
Just go into it. Just get into it.
Yeah. But oh yeah, good to be back. What'd you guys think of the Black Panther trailer?
Meh.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
I'm kind of interested to see what the plot is, because that's usually where Marvel screws up.
I was in a group chat and someone shared the trailer and someone else said, "What's it about?"
Yeah.
I was saying it looked like
that was me, Paul.
Yeah, it was bad. It looked like a dance-off in Africa. I don't know.
Well, I will say that the trailer was better than the poster. That poster was just awful.
You don't like him sitting on a milk crate? That's what I said to everybody. Milk crate CGI.
The Breaking Bad homage.
Yeah.
It was just, it just looked like the worst graphics ever. Like it just took what's his name's head and just had some computer generated world and threw it on top of it. It was, I'm thinking, man, Marvel has billions of dollars. They really couldn't come up with a better poster than that.
I mean, they tried to rip off Game of Thrones, man.
It was bad.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure most of us will see it eventually. I think last time I was on, I finally saw Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. But so I'll see it eventually. I still haven't seen Ant-Man. I still haven't seen Doctor Strange, so I don't know.
Jesus, Paul. You're worse than Coy.
Hey, I think Doctor Strange is on Netflix right now for free.
Yeah, it is.
There you
I
go.
was waiting for the VHS.
So I had two thoughts watching the Black Panther trailer. One, I think Andy Serkis, who plays Ulysses Klaue, is probably going to be the best part of that movie. And two, where the hell is the Winter Soldier in all this? Like sitting in
He's
the
sleeping,
basement,
man.
eating Cheetos.
Is he supposed to be in the movie?
Well, at the end of Civil War, they took him to Wakanda. So you see all this going on, and I'm just wondering, where the fuck is Winter Soldier? Trey's
They put
favorite
him on
movie
ice,
character.
guys. He was frozen. I think they're just leaving him be.
Gotcha.
I don't have a lot of faith. It doesn't look like it's going to be a strong movie to me.
He must be he's in Canada hunting coyotes. but I mean, I
not a
don't know.
good.
Yeah, we'll see if they try to tie plot holes together.
You're allowed to have guns. You're just not allowed to shoot them.
That's right.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, it's
They're just for looking at.
some crazy stories out of the north.
Oh, speaking of guns, in Michigan here, they're trying to pass a law where you don't need a concealed pistol license, like go to the class, but you can just, as long as you have a background check and you pass, you can actually conceal and carry.
Yeah, I saw that. Fine by me. I mean,
I do like going to the class. I mean, at least you learn a lot and not just like, fucking Rambo out there.
yeah. I mean, just to try and stay away from political stuff. But
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it's all about responsibility. No matter if you're carrying a gun, pepper spray, a knife, or a spork, whatever.
Yeah.
Or your fists.
But we'll see if that moves forward.
Yeah.
Some other news. Adam West, rest in peace.
You know what's funny is like I like him as Batman, obviously, but I still think he's the best when Family Guy rolls out.
Oh my god. The best. Ooh, a piece of candy. Ooh, a piece of candy.
Well, I think he just did a good job of making a character of himself.
Yeah.
He just brought his Batman to life. I mean, I think he kind of was that guy.
Yeah. No, I agree. I wonder what they're gonna do in Family Guy now.
Yeah, he was on.
I'm sure there'll be a RIP episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I was listening to Dan Lebatard's show, and I guess he was a guest on that show a bunch. And who was the guy? What's the guy's name that was on Curb Your Enthusiasm, and he's on the Goldbergs?
Larry David?
No. The bigger guy that looks like George Wendt or something like that.
The one that looks like Golick and George Wendt had a kid.
Yeah. Anyway, that guy was he got on the show and was doing a Adam West impersonation, and the Levitard was like, "Oh, that's a terrible." He's like, "We're gonna get Adam West on the phone and see what he thinks of your impersonation." So they called him, and he joined in. And he did it, and man, he crushed him. He was like, "That is the worst impression of me ever." And then he started doing it, and they were like, "Oh yeah, most people hate the typecast." He's like, "But he goes, I loved it. That was the greatest thing of my life." He was like, "That was 50 years ago. Most people weren't like that."
I can't remember if it was when Carrie Fisher passed away, but everyone was kind of saying, everybody's acting like this is their mother that passed away or someone close to them. I don't know if it's necessarily that, but it's just like an iconic figure. They pass away, and it's kind of like, man, I'll never see them in person, even if, I'll do that someday, but it's just the opportunity is gone. I did notice, unless I just wasn't looking, I didn't see a lot of Adam West signature series books or anything up on Facebook for crazy prices. I was actually impressed. I saw, I think, two or three different posts of people posting their signature series books from Adam West that was personally addressed to them and how they'd miss him and stuff. So I thought that was pretty cool.
It's because Jimmy hasn't listed him on his eBay yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I will say, I think Adam West is he was one of those people that kind of didn't fight that he was typecast, and it's kind of the other person that comes to mind is like Hamill. They both kind of embraced that it's Comic-Cons for Comic-Cons, and they kind of got into it way before it was all this big money and signing for $50 cash every time. I mean, I'm sure they've taken advantage of the money, but they almost seem like they enjoyed it more than the rest.
Yeah, you could. I mean, enjoying the money versus just going for only the money are two totally different things.
You know who else fits that probably is Shatner.
Well, I don't know about Shat. I don't want to put Shatner in that class.
Oh man.
Because I've heard interviews with Hamill talking about how in the good old days he met, like Kirby and all those guys, and he just loved it. I think Shatner's probably the original kind of dirty Luca guy.
But do you think from a typecast standpoint, though?
I think he
probably hates
it. Typecast now, but it took him like 30 years.
Yeah, I don't think he liked being typecast back in the day after Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
Did anyone ever meet Adam West? Or hear good or bad stories about him, like he sucks at cons or yada yada?
No.
No, I met the Robin.
Somebody on G Plus posted.
Yeah, I think I think I saw Dip had a picture with him or something like
Yeah,
that.
that was
So
it.
he
Yeah, I remember Dip. Yeah.
yeah. So he was
Said he was a
really
nice dude.
nice.
There were some cool images of original art posted. Kind of a memorial of the passing. I thought that was cool on Facebook and places if you looked around.
Yeah, I saw it on Reddit. They had like 25 posts on Reddit. It was good though.
Did any of you guys, or do we see any on Google Plus? Anybody have comics signed by him?
No.
No, I didn't see any. I don't think there's not any. I just think maybe there.
Yeah.
It's probably
I
not
mean, you could
many.
run the whole like Batman 66 run. You know what I'm saying? If you know.
But you're right. I haven't seen anybody cashing in yet, so to speak.
Yeah.
I think even a couple of weeks ago when Matt was talking about who he wanted, or he wanted that Linda Carter. I think we even brought that up. That would have been cool to have a duel with the Batman 66 versus Wonder Woman 77. The comic having Linda Carter and Adam West on the one book.
Yeah, and he was like, he didn't like. I don't think he necessarily was a big fan of Adam West back. I mean, he probably is, but not from a signature standpoint.
Right.
He had cancer. Is that right?
I thought it was leukemia, but I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything in the news of him, hospitalized for a stroke or anything like that. I don't know how unexpected it was.
Shit, I hope I live to be 88.
Right.
Yeah, it was
He looked
leukemia.
to be doing pretty well for the most part.
Yeah. But I mean, Carrie Fisher was heart attack on a flight, right?
Yeah.
So that news spread fast.
Well, she lived hard though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, she was partying with like 80 hair rock bands back in the day, doing a bunch of coke. I mean, that's a fucking rock star.
Like, even Leggett wouldn't take her fucking liver.
Oh shoot. I have not seen Wonder Woman.
I haven't either, dude.
I don't.
Surprise, Paul.
You guys need to get out there, see the world a little.
Yeah, I almost did, and then
You should tell your wife that it's because you have daughters and you need to just set your expectations for strong women.
yeah, my wife actually really likes Wonder Woman, so I told her I might go see it with a couple buddies, and she was kind of bummed out, so I didn't.
Oh, Paul.
Oh, you're
no.
saving it for a date.
This is a Paul's problem coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that was a Paul making a good decision. One
we'll
of the rare
see.
ones.
We'll see if I can still fuck it up.
We went and just saw it about 6 hours ago.
Thoughts?
Yeah, I don't care about spoilers, so
Yeah,
to the audience, spoiler
I
warning.
was surprised. I went opening night and it was not empty, but it wasn't sold out. So I was surprised by that.
Did you have that assigned seating crap? That's guy.
I got a good
Is it a
story.
West Coast thing or what?
Well,
No,
I
there's certain
think
theaters
it's about
that
half
have,
and half these days.
Yeah, I like assigned seating, dude. It's
I do
awesome.
too.
I think.
Maybe
IMAX is always going to be assigned seating.
I'm sure if you ask Trey, he'll just say that theaters in Ohio are just happy to get patrons, so there's no assigned seating.
Well, I think it's theaters way they've got to do more to get customers in the door, and I think that's one of their
Oh man,
their things. I mean, I went and had a giant freaking recliner.
nobody wants to sit in the front row with their neck craned the whole night.
No, I mean, some of these theaters are nice.
I did have to do that front row crap one time. I can't remember the movie.
Oh,
I
it
got
sucks. You get
like front row far right or something, so it was bad.
I did it for 300 in IMAX. It was awful, and my
oh god.
and my
That's
cousin
terrible.
was hammered, so I had to deal with that. So all I could smell was like booze, and then the visual effects of 300.
Ugh.
I still get nauseous watching it, dude.
They should make every seat in the theater like reasonably acceptable. But I mean,
They're
profits.
moving towards it these days. I mean, really,
Yeah.
they're not jamming theaters full. They're going for less seats, more quality, and getting your dollar because they're just not getting the volume of people they used to get.
Well, yeah. I mean, unfortunately, that's what it takes. Is oh, our numbers are actually dropping and all that, so we better change things versus
Well, I mean, how
cramming
much does a
everybody
damn
in.
ticket cost these days?
It depends where you go. I've got one theater here that's like almost $15, but there's others that are way more reasonable. Even the nicer ones with the seats are more reasonable than some of them.
Our local
I
theater,
got like up to 22 up here.
wow, one of our local ones has like like Tuesdays are cheap, and some I think other weekdays are cheap before 5. So I don't know. It depends when you go.
I found the specialty theaters are cheaper than the standard.
Yeah, I do the old man special too, like 10 o'clock in the morning when nobody's around. Like the old man brigade.
Yeah. After lunch.
Did you go to Dunkin' Donuts first?
I should.
Drink your coffee.
Just bring in my
read the
own
paper.
stuff, like, dude. Yeah.
Well, I will say I take the kids to the assigned seating theater. There's one around here that's like it's a brewery / theater, and they've got assigned seats. You can get a beer and all that. But like I can have the kids. I can get food. I can have them. I know where they're going to sit. They've got like a table blocking them in, and not just roaming free. And I can get drinks. We barely take them anywhere else.
He said I could get drinks twice.
Yeah. Usually need 2 of those.
No, it's just great that like that. In subconsciously, that's the best part of it for you.
Well, true. Honestly though, it's got like full meals and stuff, and we can do all that for almost the same price as going to the other theater.
That's what we have
Yeah.
too. We have like full meals and like
Dinner
beers.
theater, dinner movie. It's called over here.
Yeah.
But ours is like it's got a brewery and all that stuff, and it's nice.
Yeah.
We'll just do dinner and watch the movie instead of taking the kids to dinner, going to the movie, and eating popcorn, and probably save some money.
Nope. It's good. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great idea for the theaters.
I mean, you got to think about that with like things like Cody now and stuff like that. Like, who's going to leave their house? You got to entice the guys to leave their house. It's like,
Yeah.
I suppose we should actually talk about Wonder Woman.
I thought it was great.
So who saw it besides me? Stein
I saw it.
Yep.
I saw it.
and Regan? Okay.
I think just Dino and Paul are the only 2 that are lagging.
Dino, you shouldn't really be in Paul's category on this one.
yeah, I know. You know what's funny is like I meant to go. I meant to do a bunch of shit. I still haven't seen Guardians 2.
What?
I know.
Does your new girl like superhero movies, or what's her take?
Okay, so I guess that's so we started like going out and like she saw Guardians 2 with her family, and I was like, so I just I could be a loser and go by myself, but plus it's like 4 hours long, so she's like, I'm gonna need to get hammered to watch it again because she hates watching the movies twice.
Oh man, then she'll be going to the bathroom every 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's for sure too.
And then she'll want you to take her there, and maybe. I was gonna ask you, Z. I mean, I haven't been to or at least I haven't sprung for a drink during a movie, but I mean, I'd want to drink and hang out and eat and whatever, but if I could be quiet enough. But then there's also the factor of having to time when you go to the bathroom.
Well,
I don't find beer to be any worse than the giant soda.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's true.
another Paul's problem is the fact that they don't have bottom shelf liquor at the movie theater. So.
yeah, they don't.
Bottom shelf.
Yeah, they dust, I guess.
Well, the aisles are really wide there, Paul, at those places. So, like, if you have to get up and go, you're not going to, like, have to disturb anybody. So, like, you can get out without them having to move.
Another plus of the assigned seating, you can get those seats easier.
That's true.
The bad thing with those reclining seats, and they give you you get that bucket of soda. So if you like recline back, you either have to recline back up so you can take a sip of your soda and then recline back again, or like spill the shit all over you, or you're trying to like do some circus act where you can get the straw in your mouth without tipping
Sounds
the
like
soda
the
on your
holistic
ass.
experience there.
Yeah, I've spilt soda on me before.
You're doing a workout doing crunches. I like it.
Yeah, except the
You
seats
got to get them in whenever you can.
I don't know. The recliner is nice though. I mean, it is a plus for the movies. Why sit in a regular dirty old seat? Sit in a dirty old recliner.
I like the recliners, but sometimes I don't like them. Like it's like trying to find that sweet spot of like trying to be like relaxed, where it's not like uncomfortable, but it's like not weird. Maybe it becomes shorter. I don't know.
Brian, how did your viewing experience go?
So the the theater I went to, they just added the assigned seating because they just renovated it. So they went from like the regular seating to the reclining seats, and a lot of people aren't aware of it. So it's a good movie to go to, especially opening night because it's not as crowded. So I get there, I'm the first one there. It's like 10 minutes before the movie starts. And they scan my ticket, and they're like, "Oh, we have assigned seating now, so you can pick your seat." So I pick like C4, which is directly in the middle of the theater. And then my buddy's coming behind me, and I said, "Hey, they have assigned seating, come pick." So he came in like 5 minutes after, but a guy got in front of him, and we were the first 3 people in the theater, and the guy before my buddy picked the freaking seat that was right fucking next to mine. Like not like the it's like
sits next to you.
when you like piss in the urinal, you leave the one open.
Oh yeah.
This guy picked the seat right next to mine, and like everyone else in line looked at him like, "Are you freaking serious, dude?" He's like, "Yeah, I want that one." And I'm a big guy, and this is a big guy, so I'm getting my popcorn. And my buddy, I didn't know about it at the time. I got my popcorn. My buddy Matt goes, "Hey, like I just picked the seat right next to you, man." I was like, "Are you fucking serious?" So we go in the theater, and I didn't sit next to him. We moved over one. I say, "Hey, if someone else comes in, we'll just move up a row because I don't think it's gonna be that busy." I mean, if we would have sat next to each other, we would have looked like 2 big ass fuckers from Wall-E just floating around the fucking theater.
Rubbing love handles next to each
Yeah.
other.
And not only that, but he had like the recliner up, and he had like 1 foot off the reclining part next to him, and he had like a whole, I don't know, like a grocery store worth of freaking refreshments. And then he had like a sinus infection or something too. So the whole movie he's over there going,
Oh, I hate that.
and,
Jesus Christ.
and I wish I had like Chipotle or some shit for lunch that day because I would have just sat next to him and just fucking farted the whole damn movie. But we moved over, and I left the filler gap, and then my buddy left the filler gap, so we were good, like bro code's supposed to be, and the theater wasn't that packed, so luckily we made out. But yeah, I was a little annoyed. But other than that, hey, I thought the movie was good. It kind of reminded me, to me, like DC's version of the first Captain America movie.
I heard that.
Well, I think as soon as
You know
we
what
knew it was a timepiece, we knew it was going to have some similarities.
You know what it reminded me of? Titanic.
Oh, gosh.
But I'm not hating on the movie. I like the movie. So I thought Chris Pine was good in it. I mean, I thought
He was great. Yeah,
Chris Pine
was
my favorite.
I would say they hit what they needed to hit with that movie.
Yeah, they did it right.
Did you guys see the interview or the GIF of Gal Gadot like biting her lip next to Chris Pine?
God, she's so hot.
Like she just really wanted to hop on him right there in the middle of the interview, and then she's like, "Oh, I'm married. Never mind." I thought that was pretty
apparently,
funny.
I read an article about it, and apparently she put him on the spot and forced him to answer a question that I don't think he wanted to.
Maybe it was more
So
of
I think
a.
that was more like a haha, I gotcha.
Yeah, that's true. I had a link to the full interview, but I didn't watch it.
You didn't read it.
You couldn't get past the GIF.
Yeah, I was like, oh, do that lip thing again.
Oh yeah, it is hot.
But so I mean, if someone asks you what's the movie about, just basically origin of Wonder Woman. Was
Origin / World War One.
Was the villain from the comic books? Was it just completely, made up, or I don't know anything about it.
It was. I don't know. I don't know if it was from a comic story, but it felt like a mishmash of some.
Yeah.
I mean, you had Ares, you had Dr. Poison, and then
the German guy wasn't a character in the comics, though, right? But he was like apparently a real life German.
I do not know that, sir.
I do not know the answer.
Not a real life Nazi to play it, is it?
No, I mean he was actually
Wrong war.
a real life dude, but I think it was a World War II. Whatever that German dude was, he was actually a soldier in World War II,
Oh, okay.
Oh.
a general or something like that.
I mean, the backdrop was the same as Captain America, but I think it was a different story. Tried to get to the same point a different way. it wasn't so much a man out of time type story. It was just telling somebody that has been around for a long time how they got to where they are.
I mean, with these movies, you're not going to get too complex with the plot.
Yeah,
No.
I mean that's the challenge they face is making the movie for brand new audiences versus I've been reading Wonder Woman all my life kind of thing.
Yeah, but Wonder Woman's a convoluted mess between all the years she's been around. I mean, it'd be like making trying to look through 800 stories and try and pick the best one. They just used a rough outline of these are some things we know and wrote an original story, I think.
Yeah. Paul, sorry, there was no bondage or anything like that in the movie.
Those covers are nice though. Her Wonder Woman bondage run.
Yeah, there's like 180 to 200.
Yep, I picked one up for cheap at Indy.
Yeah, there.
I think what was good about the movie is just the fact that it was. Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously, not a female, but it was like a girl empowering movie, but it wasn't like, she was still very feminine and still, she could be in control, but not have to just be like some guy out there just brutally beating people up. She was still very, very, very feminine in the movie. I thought that was what she did as an actress. She did really well.
They already said they're
Effects
doing
were
it.
very good.
Sorry, did you take your girls with you?
I did. Yeah. Me and my wife, and my daughter went.
What did they think?
How did your girls like it, or your daughter like it? I guess.
My wife loved it. She said it was her favorite movie.
Wow.
Right now, my daughter loved it. The one because she's 11, so there was like one part where they started talking about like male parts and stuff like that. So we kind of just had her turn her head and in that little short part. But other than that, she thought it was great.
No, I will say I think they did a good job of there was violence, but they didn't make it up close and personal like some of them.
Like Logan did.
Yeah,
Logan is different.
Yeah.
I mean,
There was no blood, I heard, in the movie.
No blood.
not that I remember.
No, I'm trying to even
Whereas
think
Guardians
that
of the Galaxy, I took my whole crew and my wife. I went and saw it first, and then I still took the kids. And my wife's looking at me with the Yondu arrow scene, going, "You dumbass."
Forgot about that part.
I married a dork.
Whatever. Well, I mean, this is she worries more about the words they say. And she's like, I counted 6 douchebags in the first 10 minutes. I'm like, oh, I really didn't remember those, honey.
Exactly.
Because those aren't bad enough. That didn't even register with you.
Well, they say that all the time. Come on.
Yeah.
Wait till you have to explain to your kids what a douchebag is.
That's what I've been saying all this time.
I got a tough group because I got a 9-year-old who, he's almost old enough to make some poor choices on the movies. But then I got the 5-year-old that wants to drag along, and sometimes those choices are way too poor for him should be seeing.
Do you guys think you're, or maybe more towards Ben? Do you think your young kids will want Wonder Woman toys or action figures versus other stuff? I sent that picture to the group chat earlier that they're making those action figures for Stranger Things, who from McFarlane, and they're like, who would want these versus, something big like Wonder Woman I could understand, but
They're making a 112 Wonder Woman.
Yeah, my daughter has all the DC superhero girls things, but that's pretty much. Unless it's other than that, she's got some Barbies left over, but other than that she's pretty much. She would never buy anything Stranger Things. She would have no interest in that at all.
I don't know what line they're going to release for Wonder Woman or what figures or characters from the movie, but
they're doing that line that I reviewed.
That
The Mezco line? Yeah, they're doing one for her.
I almost bought one too, dude.
What, that one? The Wonder Woman?
Yeah.
You try
Is
to
it
make
out?
a weird science doll with it.
It's up for pre-sale. But it's just a regular one, so I don't think it's. I mean, it'll probably sell out eventually, but if you want one, get it from them.
What does it come with?
I looked at them and I'm like, man, I just can't. I can't rationalize the expense.
It comes with like I think she's got a couple different hands: shield, sword, lasso, a different head. I think that's really about it. Stand. It's just like like the regular basic edition ones.
Yeah,
I haven't
it's
seen
not
it.
a Mezco exclusive like that Punisher,
Mm.
right?
No.
I
Oh,
bet
I
they
had
do
a-
one though, right?
What's that?
I bet they do one though, right?
Probably. I haven't seen. They usually do one for San Diego. I haven't seen anything released for it yet. But they'll probably do one for San Diego, I imagine.
Where do you look to find out what they're releasing and when? Where's your main sources? At Twitter or Instagram or just the website?
I mean, I checked their website. I think I get emails from them. I think I signed up for their newsletter and stuff like that. So like when they're releasing something or about to put it up, they'll send you an email.
Oh, Brian sent the link. I think I can send that to the YouTube chat.
You can. I think I gave you permission.
Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty cool. It's just, I mean,
Yeah.
like anything, just depends on your taste. But I mean, I don't know. For the Stranger Things, it just seems odd.
I think the Stranger Things would probably be more geared to the people that like buy pops. People that want that cheaper collectible for a product that they like.
Yeah, they
Or,
went crazy
not a
on
product,
the pop Stranger Things. The pop
Yeah.
collectors.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was reading online. It's just
I think
people don't really think McFarlane Toys has the quality they used to. The articulation, the articulation is down. The paint jobs are kind of subpar, and it's kind of just. And then one of the other comments beyond that was just, who would want one? Just odd. I mean, maybe the monster, maybe I don't know. Who knows?
I
To each
bet
their own.
they'd sell. They'll sell because there isn't a lot of Stranger Things memorabilia or collectibles.
Should there be though?
It's a pretty popular show. I mean, I see a lot of people wearing shirts.
I don't know. It's just bizarre to me.
Did you see the series, Z?
Yeah, I did. I'm just to me the toys imply that kids are into it, and I just don't. I don't know. I don't get it making a
Kids aren't buying it.
toys for a show geared towards adults.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about buying toys.
Well, I mean, it's the same with comics. I mean, is it as much of a kid's hobby as it is an adult hobby anymore? Same with toys in a sense.
I would think the people buying the Stranger Things are probably going to be the guys a little bit younger than us.
Yeah.
Just starting to get some disposable income. Oh, that's a cool show. Everybody likes it. I'm gonna get them.
Or maybe trying to think it'll be worth something someday.
Yeah.
I don't know, we'll see.
I guess it's probably no less dorky than anything that we have.
Yeah.
I mean, what about
It's a great.
Good.
No, the stupid what?
The stupid fidget spinners.
Yeah, man, I got like 15 of them, man.
I see them everywhere. My LCS started selling them. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I have to, man.
Oh, they were
Kids come in
they
here
were crazy.
asking for it.
My kids got something them off Amazon though, because we weren't going to go hunting for that shit.
It's so weird.
Pull your ratchet set out.
Why are there 3 bearings on the outside too? Does anybody know?
Probably balance. I don't know.
It's just weights. That some of them don't have that. Just need something weighted.
Butterfly knife. That'll teach him.
Yeah.
Oh, Ben, you've been doing some work lately.
I have, unfortunately. It's hard. It has. Yeah, I've been. I've not been doing a whole lot of work. I mean, you guys have all been answering the questions and stuff. But no, basically, we kind of came up with the idea to have a CBSI Hall of Fame. For a couple different reasons. One, because I think it just adds more respect to the site, that type of stuff that we're able to recognize, books, artists, those type of things. But it also gives people who are, maybe newer to the hobby, kind of a basis. You say, Baseball Hall of Fame, and you say Jackie Robinson or something like that. People, oh yeah, I know who those people are. He's a Hall of Famer. That was kind of the idea behind it. But yeah, so I, basically just the last few weeks have been sending out polls to at least, not the general public, but people, that have, decent comic knowledge. So we're not going to get some stupid result with, like, what was it that just had, or was it Wizard World that inducted or did something to their first honoree was Rob Liefeld, and I'm like, of all people, that's who you chose to be your first honoree was Rob Liefeld. I mean,
remember when they let the internet name that boat?
Yeah. Bodie McBoatface. And they couldn't use it, right? They named it something else.
Yeah.
Anytime you let the full scale of the internet or the full scale of your audience vote on something, you better have a backup plan.
Yeah, like you get 1/3 of the vote, and we'll take the other 2/3 of the vote and override you. But I mean, it's kind of how baseball's done it with with the fan voting. It's so bad. I mean, guys that are on the disabled list all year are making the All-Star team, and you're like, that makes no sense at all. But
it's because they give you 100 ballots at the game. You sit there the whole game and punch these damn cards.
I never understood the 1 vote per day kind of thing. Like, well, then your results are already skewed.
There's some people that'll go out there every day and vote. Put their vote in.
Exactly, that's what I mean.
It should just be 1 per person and move on.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I limited it to.
You didn't let Paul vote, did you?
I don't know. I don't know if Paul voted or not.
Oh,
what were the categories?
I voted, but I couldn't see the results.
We should have vetted that process better, guys.
Yeah, it's should be all turtles.
Yeah. So what? What did you poll, Ben? Best what?
All right. Well, I don't know how you guys want to go through this. I mean, because I'm basically going to the whole write-up to Inigo tonight, and then I don't know exactly when he's going to format it.
Are you doing it by? Is he doing it daily release, or is he doing it all at once?
I'm not sure how he's going to do it.
Well, then maybe
I told him there was. Yeah, I mean, we can decide. It makes no difference to me. I mean,
we just talk about the overall and reveal 1 or 2 categories, and then he can post those, and then he can stretch them out how he chooses.
Hey, that's fine. Whatever you guys think, it makes no difference to me. I mean, I've got all the results. I've got everything pretty much written up, to where it, I just basically just need to, add some photos and stuff like that. But other than that, yeah. So okay. So these are if you want
Let's talk about the categories.
Categories. All right. So these were the different categories that we went with. All right. So the first category was incentive/exclusive variant. That could be a store variant. It could be a incentive variant. It could be a con variant. Basically any type of variant. The only real caveat was that I did not give any choices of brand new variants. Like, it needed to have some kind of time to have some staying power. So, like, what think of a variant that just came out that's a couple $100 or something like that. It's not going to be that, because we have no idea if that 2 months from now is going to be junk. So that's kind of where that category was at. Then we did a classic cover category for each era. So one for Golden Age, one for Silver Age, and then I combined Bronze and Copper Age for this category, just because of the number. Basically, classic cover meaning not necessarily the most valuable, but basically the cover that kind of shows
Cool art.
cool art, shows what the age looks like. When you think about Golden Age, what covers are you thinking about? When you think Silver Age, what covers are you thinking about? So that's what that category was all about. Then we did a story arc category. I split that into 2 different subcategories. One basically being like either one shot or a 2-issue story, and then the other one kind of like a mini series from 3 to 12 issues. So there was two separate ways you could vote on, or 2 separate areas you can vote on that. Then we did best, for Hall of Fame writer, strictly based on their writing. Some of these guys did both, but this was strictly based on writing. Then an artist category as well. Again, no brand new artists, no guys that have basically just come onto the scene here within the last couple years. I mean, these guys are well established people. Then we had a category for icon/game changer. Basically individuals who kind of like like in like the Oscars, like they recognize one guy every year that basically is just for his longevity, something some portion of his life has greatly altered the way comic books are either made or something like that. And then the last category was blue chip books. That one we did with all 5 different ages: golden, silver, bronze, copper, and modern. Those are not necessarily the most valuable, but it's going to be the books that comic collectors would say these are no-brainers. If you own any certain book from this era, these are the books you need to own. I think it was you, Z, that brought up the Golden Age and Silver Age. Pretty much almost all the books on the list could be considered blue chip. But what was amazing is, like, when you actually looked at the results, some of the books you thought would be, every single person would have voted on. Not everybody did. I was kind of surprised, to be honest. But yeah, those are all the categories that we came up with.
What was the total number? What was the total number of people that you were able to survey?
Most of the categories. Yeah, most of the categories. The one that had the most activity was the variant section, and there was about 65 to 70 people that voted on that one. Most of the other ones had anywhere between 40 to 50 people that voted on each one, something like that. Some people didn't vote on all of them. They didn't give me names on who voted and who didn't vote, but I sent it to the same people every time. So everybody had the same opportunity to vote on every single category, and I set up the system to only allow one entry per person.
I voted.
Well, I appreciate it, because obviously the more people we have voting on it,
the better.
With knowledge, I think you get a much better sampling.
Yeah, I voted too.
And if you don't vote, you can't bitch about the results either.
Exactly.
Well, I will say that Z was doing that before we even. He wanted me to change a book out of a category. I really honestly, did you ever get an actual answer on that?
Z muted himself for now.
Oh,
Sorry.
Okay.
Hold on. Kenobi says that is bronze, not silver.
Okay, and that's fine. I mean, Vampirella 1.
And my opinion is, if Kenobi speaks, I will go with it.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I looked hard at that. I mean, because there were several books that are kind of border that, is it this age, is it that age? Sometimes that line is not real clear. The Vampy one came out in, what was that, like October of '69, something like that. So it was right there, and I honestly didn't know.
It depends if you're going by date or by, some books just don't. There's not a hard, fast date always on like the ages, and that one really fit better with the bronze, just in the scope of the art and the style and what it contained. But I mean, I think we talked about it before. On just sometimes the ages there's books that fit a category, but they don't all switch immediately with that book. Like Showcase Force probably, is the Silver Age, but there's some books that are before and after, definitely after it, that probably still fit in gold more than they fit in silver.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I agree with you, and that's why I said.
And that's one of those books. It's time-wise, it's probably a silver, but the feel and the vibe, it's definitely more of a 70s book than a 60s.
No, I get that. Like I said, I'm definitely no expert on eras or anything like that, so I wasn't really sure on that one, but
trust me, I wrote an article on the errors, and Kenobi yelled at me, so it's all right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily know if it even really matters in a lot of cases. I mean,
I just need book is about.
Well, that's okay. Honestly, somebody brought up after the fact and said, is there not just a strict, horror category? And I didn't include one here, but I think maybe because this is going to be an ongoing thing, probably and you guys can tell me what you think, if we should do this every 6 months or every year.
Well, if you did pre-code horror, then you got to do crime, then you have to do good girl.
But every time you do it, you can add a category.
Yeah, I would probably do it yearly.
Yeah.
Do it yearly, then every year add another category or two to it.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely add.
I don't think you want to break it up into all those. It'll just get crazy quick.
Let's get crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when if you look at some of those more specialized things, though, I mean, there's a lot of people who may have been voting because there were some in some of the, especially in like the golden categories, either in the classic cover or in the the blue chips. Some of those people or some of those books, maybe a lot of people don't really know much about, but they are clearly, I mean, I included that suspense, that sold for $258,000. I mean, I don't think anybody on my top 10 list last time. I mean, I don't think anybody would know that book is that, crazy high of a book. So I don't know. I don't know if it's right or wrong to not include them, or I don't know.
I just think you'd have to just divide it up a lot more than you want to, especially the older you go.
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, I see both sides, and I'm.
But yeah, I don't know. It's up to you, but it's the Hall of Fame. I think you keep it tight. Make it exclusive.
Yeah, you don't. That way you don't skew your results or let it be spread too far and wide. But change it up.
I get it. I mean, I like said it.
See what the comments are when you post it, and go from there. If you want to do it once a year, see what happens.
Well, hey, I'm just going to be happy that some of the comments are going to actually cover some of these books that these people want me to put on a list, on the top 10 list every single week. That I can actually include them and say, hey, this is why some of these books don't really need to be on a hot 10 list every 2 weeks, because they're always going to be hot, or it's
Ben, why didn't you put any Valiant books up there?
because he doesn't have any to sell.
Dino, there was a Harbinger. I did include Harbinger 1 on the options for what was that? Was that copper or modern or I don't know.
I think it's modern. It's not copper.
Yeah, I mean it was
Yeah,
what
it's
90.
92.
That was probably 92, something like that.
Yeah, 92.
Not very many people voted for, but there were a few.
It's an important book. It's just an odd. It was tough competition. I don't think it's a first ballot. Let's think of it that way.
That's true too. I mean, that's the thing is some of the stuff that didn't make it, will obviously be on the ballot next time. Because there were some clear books that I thought were clear, but didn't make it. So, but again, none of this was my opinion. Other than putting the Vampirella in the wrong category, but everything else was I kind of just did some searches, as what other people think, hey, what are the best best storylines? What are the best? There's a lot of these storylines that I've never even read, so I will say that I'm going to go back and probably read them all, at least read the ones that made it. If I haven't read.
As I think about it, you talk about first ballot and stuff. Maybe there should be a distinguishing factor on the thing, like make it all like first ballot, like I don't know, like images or something. So like when you do the next year, maybe a second ballot makes it or something like that, so people know.
Oh yeah, like a little icon or something, like at the bottom of the picture or something.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Just address the hanging Chad issue before things get out of hand.
We'll take Paul's vote away next year.
Yeah, I know. The fact that Paul voted may have skewed the vote.
Yeah, this year I couldn't see the results. Next year I can't see the polls to begin with. So.
But no, I hope everybody that voted had fun with voting on it.
It was.
I had fun putting the list together. Some of it was kind of hard, especially trying to narrow some of it down to 20 options was difficult sometimes. They voted for one. I appreciate everybody voting and participating, but trying to make actual educated decisions and stuff.
Hey, I enjoyed voting, and I thank you for putting the effort towards this and putting it all together. I think it's a kick-ass job.
Yeah, that definitely took some time.
Yeah, it's a cool idea.
Nice work, sir.
You just think of it out of the blue, or what?
No, actually, I brought the idea to Inigo. Gosh, probably 9 months ago. But it's when you get this many different books and authors and artists and stuff like that, it's time consuming to just try and even put the list together, and I just don't have a whole lot of time to spend on it, as much as I would like to, but I just kind of just made myself a few weeks ago. I'm like, you know what, this needs to be done. And then it was funny when the voting was still going on, that Wizard World Rob Liefeld thing popped up. I just thought that was kind of funny that the timing on that one was kind of funny, but Rob Liefeld did not make it in any category, just for everybody's just for everybody's no, he didn't. Yeah, best feet drawing. Yeah,
best appendages.
Best appendages.
But yeah, so when I don't know, like I said, I don't know how we're going to publish them or how quickly he's going to put them out, or if you want me to give any results on any of these categories, I can give them to you. It's not a problem at all.
I've been asking for results since I started voting, but it's fine.
Next year, I would put the category as best website to buy comics from.
That'd be interesting. With a fill, you'd have to have a fill in the blank.
Yeah.
I was actually going to have a kind of a funny category, but I didn't want to because I wanted this to be more more official. But I was going to do a favorite mod, and then the one that got the least amount of votes, I was just going to send them some books, and it's just because I felt bad for him. Of course, it could have been me, so who knows? Yeah, I thought that would have been funny, but I didn't want to. Like I said, I want to make this strictly as kind of as professional as possible. To where people, like I said, where new collectors and stuff may if they Google best storylines or something, that it brings them to the website and they can be like, oh, this one made this website's Hall of Fame. It must be pretty good. So anything to make the website look more professional, more long standing, I think is a good thing.
What were the results in one of the categories that surprised you?
Let me look here. I will say, I will say the because I tried, because most of the categories I allowed, like if it was on the modern day blue chips, I mean, there was 20 books listed. You could choose as many of those. Every person voting could choose as many as they wanted. So I couldn't really do to where the percentages, we're never going to be 100% or anything like that. So all the categories, basically, to get in, you need to get at least 50%. So the one that actually surprised me though was who got the most votes in the Icon Game Changer category. I was a little surprised. I mean, there was 2 people that got inducted, but I was a little surprised at who was number 1 and who was number 2. But that did surprise me.
Yeah, Z was suggesting to reveal something. So reveal one of the categories, one of the options, and one of the results.
All right. Well, I'll just go ahead and just because we're talking about it on the Icon Game Changer. My initial thought was that Stan Lee would have blown away everybody else, but he didn't. He actually finished second.
Wow.
But yeah, which surprised me. But Jack Kirby actually finished with more votes than Stan Lee did.
I voted for Kirby. All right.
I voted for
Yeah,
Stan.
and in this category, you could only vote for one. So it was a you had to actually make a decision and stick with it type thing. It wasn't a thing of I think all 5 of these people or whatever should make it. But yeah, Kirby got more votes. And let me pull it up real quick and I'll tell you exactly.
Are you going to leave it while you're pulling that up? Are you going to leave it open next time to where people don't have to vote? Or I guess, are you going to change the voting style in any way since it's done?
I mean,
next time.
You tell me. I mean, did you guys like the way the poll looked? I mean, it was kind of a basic poll, but it was a free poll thing that I could add pictures and stuff like that too. That didn't cost me anything, but it tracks gives me percentages and stuff like that on the back end. But was it easy
Yeah, it was easy. I mean, you had all the links, so I mean, all you had to do is click the link, vote, go back, click the link, vote. Doesn't get much easier than that.
Yeah, so my guess is I'll probably just leave it the same. But yeah, Kirby got he got 30% of the vote, and of the like I said, of the one per person vote, and Stan Lee only got 18%. So Kirby beat him by quite a bit.
That was a pretty mixed vote across.
Yeah, it was. Well, it was. There was. The options. I'll just I'll go through the options that people had to vote were Kirby, Stan Lee, Robert Kirkman, Jerry Siegel, Todd McFarlane, Will Eisner, Mobius, Steve Ditko, Edgar Church, Max Gaines, Bob Kane, Osamu Tezuka, which he created manga, and Jake Saunders, who was my comic shop founder. So all those people had the opportunity to be voted on. So some of the other guys, had some of their votes.
Others get any votes?
I think you did a pretty diverse list there of people, though.
It is. Actually, Bob Kane, Jake Saunders, and Osama Tezuka got 0 votes. Nobody voted for those 3.
Wow. No love for Batman.
Well, I don't know if he was a game changer, though. It's hard to change the game when you started it.
True.
You didn't really start it, but you were early.
They have a Netflix about that, or a documentary about Bob Kane and how he wasn't a real creative Batman, I guess. I haven't watched it yet.
He wasn't the sole creator.
Correct.
And Jimmy's watched it.
I thought the inclusion of the My Comic Shop guy was interesting.
Yeah, I included him there because, when it comes to modern, there's basically modern comic buying. There's either eBay or, there's really, the 3 big ones are going to be Midtown, Mile High, and My Comic Shop.
And My Comic Shop's shop is it's a better page.
It's a better page. They've got more selection of back issues.
And he bought the name, the URL.
Right.
He knew early enough along to buy the URL.
Yeah, it's brilliant. But like I said, that's why
on the auction
with awesome, by the way.
With the auctions and the 3%. If I could do a setup, I'd do that. He is on it.
Yeah.
He takes a little piece of a lot of things.
You don't have to pay the 3%. You mail him a check, by the way.
Really?
The 3% just covers the pay. The 3% just covers the PayPal or the credit card fees.
So how do you?
That's the commission.
Yeah, that's just basically to cover the fees. Yeah, because they have an option like you can select like pay by mail, pay by wire transfer.
Upon checkout.
Yeah.
Huh.
I think I have to have a big purchase to really care about the 3%. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, I bought like $400 worth of books, so I sent them a check. It took like an extra week.
But they reserve it for you, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they give you 2 weeks to get your payment into them.
So the next time I see a big book, it might be worth it.
Yeah. Even with the 2 weeks, it gives you a little bit of time too.
Huh.
I ordered a couple books from them, and the shipping priority versus whatever the cheapest option was. I ordered 2 different books, and I paid the premium shipping for one, and then the other one I chose the lowest shipping, and they both came packaged fine in the same.
I always go really well.
Yeah, the same style box. So if you're new to My Comic Shop and are buying a slab and think the shipping difference is going to make all the world, I think in my opinion, they were packaged both safe. So
I don't think their rates have been on with the priority recently, though. Since the rates went up with the priority with the USPS, I've been getting weird quotes from them when I do more than one purchase. So I'm just going to go on everything.
The only difference with the
it's like they're not combining
economy
shipping as they were.
The biggest problem with the economy shipping is how long it takes them to process it.
Oh, I agree.
It takes them just
I used to get everything the priority though.
I just go with the regular, and I go with the economy. It
depends what it is, but
I like it.
I used to do priority because it was like $6 versus $5, even when you bought a couple items. But now they've kind of really, I think they're pushing you there, so that I think they don't combine, or they've charged you a little more premium for the priority.
I guess it just depends how fast you want the book. Is it a quick flip? Is it long-term spec? Is it personal? All that stuff. But I think they're a great website. Their grading is spot on. So
yeah, their grading, even for their raws, their grading is really good. Have you guys ever sold books to them?
No, I did. I wasn't sure if that was a trade secret or not.
No, I've done it. You can. It's pretty easy. Like there's an option up there. Sell my comics. Record your items. They have like a whole database of everything. You put in what you have, and they'll let you know if they're taking it or not.
And then they have a window too, so it's like if they're not taking it now, they might take it in 3 months or 6 months or.
Yeah, they'll say, "Oh, we'll be taking this book in 1 month or 2 months, 3, basically all the way up to like, we don't need any of these ever."
Ever.
Yeah, and honestly, you ship them in and you give them a grade, and then they're going to review your grade, and then they just grade it to what they think it's going to be, and then give you the balance.
So if you undergrade, would you get more money, or do they not work that way?
Yeah, they if they find that you undergrade it, they'll quote you. They'll basically give you the higher grade.
Have we ever done that, Scott? I don't even know. I feel
I
like
don't think we've ever gotten a higher grade ever.
Yeah.
It's always lower grades.
Yeah.
That's why I'm just hesitant. They look like they get good prices, but I don't know. I always want to do the auction, but I'd just be hesitant to send them anything raw because you'd think it's an 8 and they'd be a 6.
We made it well. I mean, honestly, it's not we've sent like $8,000 books or something.
Nah, we're sending in like books, but sometimes they'll give you like Daredevil, like 50, 60, somewhere around there. Like, what are you going to sell that on eBay for? $5 maybe? They'll give you 10 sometimes. Like, it's weird what they'll give you money for.
Well, because they're going to sit and wait on it.
Yeah.
But I'll take the
That's
$10 now. And then you could do either cash or trade.
Well, I've heard trade may be the way to go.
The only caveat with the trade is you can't use the trade on consignment items.
Oh,
So that's the biggest issue. Most of their good stuff is consignment.
not always, but you'd have to wait longer for sure.
I mean,
what do they make on
doing
fees for their consignment items from their sellers?
Yeah, Scott, what have we been doing a couple, like, what, a year maybe? To save up?
Yeah. Think about a year. We had a couple $100.
Yeah.
I don't know. I assume it's probably around 10%, maybe 8 to 10. I've never sold any. I've only sold to them, not through them.
Are all of their, so if you sell through them, you hold it at your house and they sell it for you?
No, I think you have to
everything goes to them.
mail it to them, and then they grade it, but you set the price, I think.
And everything that they have stock wise is in Texas?
Yes. And then everything, even the consignment items, are there. I don't think they take consignment without having the book in their possession.
I wonder if anyone has been to their warehouse or seen it. How big is it? Or is it, multiple warehouses, I would assume.
It's got to be huge.
I don't know, but that's a great process versus frickin' Comic Link and Comic Connect and all those other ones where we'll take your bids and then we'll wait for them to ship to us and then we'll process it. I mean, sometimes I'm waiting 5 weeks for books.
Uh-oh.
So as far as buying books, I don't know. Maybe it's a topic for another time because I'm just thinking of it now. But where do you go to buy your books? Everyone thinks eBay right away, but maybe we can cover that another time. But I just figure out the mentality of why eBay is number one in our minds.
eBay just has the viewership. You can get good deals in other places. You just got to go out there and look at them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But even half of the or more than half of the comic world, if you're like, Turtles number 65 is going to be worth $500 tomorrow. And the first website you type in is eBay just because. I don't know. I guess they've just gained that popularity.
Well, it's they have enough transactions, and you can actually see sales history, so you can actually gauge what it's actually selling for versus what people are listing it at.
Yeah, just an idea.
A lot of times, I'll use eBay to shop my comic shop because I'll just go for 9.8s. I'll pull up my comic shop, and then go to the site because the site's always cheaper than what they have it listed on eBay.
It's like
for
about 15% cheaper too.
Right. It's just for me. It's just easier to scroll it through real quick rather
That's
than
so true. I do that too.
searching for books on their actual site.
And I love it because they have their little watermark on the picture, so you could tell right away it's them.
Right. Sometimes I'll be looking at just like a search for 9.8s, and I'm like, oh shoot, that's my comic shop. Now I'll jump over to their site.
Yeah, they like I said on those obscure 9/8s that aren't like hot, they'll always have like the cheapest price.
Yep.
Cheapest buy it now at least.
Matt DeVoe stumbled in on Cali time.
Oh, he's on mute though.
What
There he
up?
is.
Well, I was just letting you guys know.
Hey!
Hey, what's going on? No, I'm just on time. Sorry, guys.
Right.
Is this where I parked my car?
Right. But your topic is up, man. Best welcome. Best.
Yeah, and sorry for being late. Yeah, it was like, oh, kid stuff. Sundays, I tell you, are like the busiest days for us.
Yeah, the audience is used to it.
A little early for you too over there.
Yeah, it's just finishing dinner and rushing over, and yeah, it's all good times.
He's just taking his time.
So, how is everyone?
Very, very good. How about you?
Good. Anything exciting that you guys were talking about? Did I miss anything?
Ben's Hall of Fame.
Yeah, let's go over it.
What CBSI presents episode 11, starting over.
Start from the beginning.
What console are we up to? I can't remember. What we covered last time.
I'm going to jump around just because I want to do consoles that, like my favorite console of all time is Super Nintendo. It's kind of one of those systems.
Genesis.
See, I was never a Sega guy. Okay, I have a Genesis story. So for Christmas one year, I had under the tree was a square shaped box. And I was like, I know it's a Genesis. And my parents were like, oh, let's go out to breakfast. So I had to wait like 2 hours until I could open up gifts.
Oh,
but I knew it was a Genesis. And when I got home, it was rollerblades. I was so bummed. And so I've hated Genesis ever since.
Makes sense.
No, I never. I was always pure Nintendo. I had every Nintendo console possible. But I never got a Dreamcast. Although I played Dreamcast. Same thing with the Genesis. Same thing with.
Did you get a Switch?
No, not yet. I kind of want to wait to see how see it work out its kinks a little bit. Yeah, see if they come out because they usually come out with a different version. Like a year later or something, or
the one that doesn't fail and break.
I'm kind of waiting to see what they're doing with it a little bit. So a lot to test it out. But so Super Nintendo it's a fun console. It's an interesting console. It's kind of during the time when you go back to, I think we talked about it a little bit on the last podcast, but when you look at like during the time of like Atari and Nintendo, there weren't a lot of places you can go and rent that stuff. Super Nintendo was really where like a lot of stores like back Warehouse Music and Blockbuster. I don't know if Blockbuster was around, but back then you could go and
they were.
You could go back and rent a game, like 3 games for like $1 a piece. So if you wanted to play around with games that you wouldn't normally buy, like you could just rent them. And I think this was the first console I remember doing that a lot. And so some of my all-time favorite games I never really owned because I just always rented them. And a lot of those, and it seems like a lot of people did that. So there's a lot of valuable games for the Super Nintendo. I kind of want to even say it's the console out of all the consoles that have the most.
Wow.
I agree with that.
It's just because I forget how long it was around for. I want to say it was a while.
Do you think it's because of rentals versus purchases?
I kind of think so because you look at those obscure games, they probably, why would you buy, a game you never heard of for $50, mm-hmm. and when you're renting it for $1. Like for example, one of my favorite games, it was in the arcade, was Sunset Riders.
Oh, Sunset Riders is legit, man.
It's one of the best games of all time. It's probably my favorite side scroller. And I remember playing it in the arcade a lot. It was always available in the arcade, and the port to the Super Nintendo was almost spot on. And it was always available to rent. So I kind of didn't need to ever to pick. There was no need to get it. But that game sells for a good solid $80-$90 easily,
Wow.
quickly. Every time it comes up, it's gone.
Now, what about, because I remember Genesis had a version, because I had it. Is that doing anywhere near that, or is it just the Super Nintendo?
I don't know. Let's see. Genesis is a little less. It's
I imagine it has less of a following.
yeah. I mean, because you got Nintendo versus Genesis, but it's still a good solid game. I mean, it's a good $40-$50 on the Genesis.
Okay.
I mean, we'll do a Genesis system because I actually bought a bunch of Genesis games not too long ago, and it was surprising how there most of the stuff I picked up, there was only about one or two that were really worth $20 or something. And anytime, this is a hard fast rule for any system across the board, never buy a sports game.
Just mass produced.
Sports games, they're absolutely worthless on the back market. I mean, if you get a sealed one, you could probably do pretty good with it. But you're not going to get some of the numbers that.
Now, is that because they release them every year?
Yeah, because there's a constant turnover. They're probably the most popular games for every console. Because everyone kind of had one. Like you look at for the Super Nintendo, one of my favorite games was like Killer Instinct, Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Those games aren't worth that much. I mean, $15, $10, but everyone had them, so they were there's no rarity. A lot of the rarity comes to those amazing games like Sunset Riders that not a lot of people owned, but everyone absolutely loved playing, and it's still playable to this day.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of games that kind of fall into in that category. Like, for example, there's just so many good games. Earthbound was one of my favorite games on Super Nintendo. A nice sealed copy can go for about $2,000.
Wow.
And the box is big too. It's like I don't even know how to compare it. It's maybe like a slim shoebox.
Okay.
It was a pretty large box when it came out. A complete copy on its own probably go about $400 or $500.
Jesus.
There's another game called Hagain, The Final Conflict. Just recently, there was a sealed copy sold for $1,400. And you can get like loose, it's about $300-$400. Yeah, here he goes. Final Conflict in the box, sealed, $11.91. A sealed Jetsons, Invasion of the Planet Pirates. See, all these games are like, they're so obscure, but a lot of people play them.
People didn't think to buy them.
No, you didn't buy them. Like, you wouldn't buy the Jetsons, but that game sealed is $1,200.
Who's buying the Jetsons now, though?
Just people are like
hardcore SNES fan.
Like, if you really want to play, and now there's a lot of like there's an interesting trend with gaming is people want the feel of a cartridge in your hand, putting it into like an actual Super Nintendo system, and running. That classic experience is a nostalgia based experience for them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they want these games, because a lot of these games are games that everyone rented or people rented, and now they want them back. And so it's kind of what's driving these prices. Some of the other ones, Aero Fighters, another $500 game. Metal Warriors, a $300-$400 game. Mega Man X3, a good $300-$400 game. Wild Guns, $200 game. Harvest Moon is like a $200-$300 game. There's a Ninja Gaiden Trilogy. That's a really hard game to find, but that's a good $200-$300. Castlevania Dracula X. That's over $100. Mega Man 7. It's a good over $100 game. Super Turrican 2. I don't know if you guys ever played it, but this was another really good game. I had it, and I just have no idea where it is. But raw, it goes for a good $150. just with the cartridge hanging out. Pocky and Rocky. I don't know if you remember that game. Chrono Trigger. That's a really popular game.
They have a new release.
They've had several releases. The original Chrono Trigger, a sealed copy can go for over $1,200. Where
is that one of the shooter games?
Yeah, it was kind of like Chrono Trigger was one of those older RPGs. I think it may have preceded Final Fantasy.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that, but it was a very Final Fantasy type game. And so is Earthbound. It's well, I guess Earthbound wasn't kind of like Final Fantasy and Chrono Trigger are like turn-based games. Demon's Crest, the villain from Castlevania, the gargoyle guy, he had his own game. It's a good 400.
I think we just lost Matt.
I can feel the silence.
Thanks for joining us, Matt. Appreciate it.
Let's fill the silence with some baby cries. Matt went back to a surfboard, California time, but no, he'll come back. But we were going to talk about our comic collecting evolution. I know in the past we've said kind of where we've come from as far as how we got into comics, but now kind of where we are now and where we see ourselves in the future. But I'll leave it up to one of you guys to jump on and start it out.
Yeah, okay, I'll jump in. Because when you posed the question initially, I was sitting there thinking, man, I don't even know if I really have that much of a plan to start with, let alone have one for the next couple of years or anything like that. But I know a lot of people or initially when you get in, the thrill is to do the Wednesday Warrior thing, chase a bunch of stuff, and I still like to do that. I don't think I ever really did the Wednesday stuff, but digging through every single bin trying to find out of 2,500 books or something like that, try to find one that's marked at $4 that's a $30 book or something like that. I don't know if I can keep doing that because it's so time consuming. But I have been just looking strictly at, just saying, hey, I just want to find these cool, Golden Age covers, just buy them and, and just sit on them. Oh, there's Matt. But yeah, just
Matt's waiting for the solar panels to charge back up.
I don't know. I mean, just having those books that I can just sit on, for a few years, is kind of an interesting, concept for me right now. Just because I look, some of the books that are, $1,000 today, 3 years ago were $400 books. So, I kind of want to see, just sit on some of these books for a while and, see if I think I know, or if I can back up what I think I know. Hold on to some of these things a little bit longer term. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of doing the same thing, but I'm focusing a little bit more on like early Silver Age stuff. I'm not ready to jump into that Golden Age pool yet. There's a little too much, too many variables.
So you just want to. So what were you trying to say, Ben? You're just trying to buy stuff that isn't like a Wednesday quick up, quick down, but it's cool books based on your own personal knowledge, and then just kind of just for the hell of it, seeing if it goes up like you think it will long term.
Yeah, I mean, if I have to pay market price for it now, but if I really think hey, in 3 years, that it's rare now, it's gonna. I mean, because that's basically the books that are, like I said, that you look back at some of these, some of these golden books that you could have bought 3 years ago for $200 are now $800, $900 books in the same grade. there's no reason to think that they're not making more of them. Pretty much all the nicest copies have already been graded, so there's not going to be some huge influx in the census or anything like that. So if it's, as long as it's not a common book that's got either some kind of classic cover, I always look at on the graded labels, something on the right. If there's something on the right hand side written, that's usually a good thing. Either it's either going to say something about a first appearance, classic cover, something significant about that book. Buy some of this. If you have to spend $300 or $400 on it now, even at full market, then do it and just sit on it. And I don't really see these things, especially on the golden stuff, just because they're just so hard. Some of these things are so difficult to even locate. Most people aren't putting them up for auction. They're buy it nows, and they're way overpriced because and you can't find them. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a roadblock for people is when you say, just buy it at $300-$400 and see what happens. Like, oh, that's my budget, or not, maybe not budget, but that's what I spend on comics, in 6 months or a year. Like, holy shit! So it just depends on what you want to do with your comics and your personal long-term or short-term goal. But,
absolutely. I still love the variants and stuff. I still keep buying them. if I find them in a back issue bin, I'm buying them. If I find 1 in 50 variants for $4, I'm going to buy them.
You have a nice advantage of traveling a lot too, as far as the hobby goes.
Definitely. It definitely helps. But that honestly, very, very few variants. Have I ever spent more than, $15 or $20 on? Most of the variants I buy are dirt cheap, and, cover price or less. And, so there's really, I can't lose on those. So I'm fine with that. And that's really where I'm using this money. Any money that I've made, any good decisions I've made in the past that I've been able to move some of these books, that's all I'm doing is just taking that money now and just kind of shuffling it over.
Yeah. Hopefully I can say this, but, I think in the beginning, you used comic money strictly for comic money. So, you started with X amount of dollars and just started down the rabbit hole or whatever. And is it just a personal, personal restraint thing as far as, this is $100 or whatever to start off down the road, and then, just 100% limit myself from never using any other money for comics?
That's what I've done. I basically, I took, when I got back in, several years ago, I had a little bit of money, and I was like, I just want to, I want to do something. I want to get back into collecting. So I'm going to I threw all that money into my I just deposited into my PayPal account and said, that's the only money that I'm going to spend. I don't tap into my own money at all. I only spend from that initial money I put in, and if it gets low, if it gets down, we've only got $50 in there. I'll throw a book up for sale or something like that, just to kind of build it back up. But yeah, I strictly only buy from that. So that's my own personal restraint.
That's tough.
And that way, it's tough. It's tough. But if, and then I'm like, if a book tanks, then I don't really care. If it doesn't affect my everyday life.
Just playing with house money at this point.
Yeah, that's all I'm doing. But I know a lot of people can't do that. They don't have that initial, funds to set up like that. But it wasn't a huge amount. But it was enough to where I could, I remember I bought a couple years ago, and I got on eBay and I was like, man, I want to buy a graded book. This is so cool. A graded book. And I just bought the first thing. I was like, oh, I want to buy this, cool, grade a book for oh gosh, I'm going to spend $60 on this book. That's crazy.
But Ben, we collect the exact same way. Like how we operate our, like my same thing. Our money never touches comics. It has to stay self-contained, but it could definitely spill over into. It could pay for stuff in the. It's opposite. It could pay for stuff in this world. It just can't spill over into into the comic world.
I've always thought. I mean, just listening to you, Matt, and seeing your posts and stuff like that. I've always thought, man, I feel like your collecting habits are like exactly like mine, just on the West Coast.
No, exactly. I mean, I run from dollar bins. I mean, that's my bread and butter. Is probably speculation on like actual books that come out on Wednesday. That's probably like 0.2%. I don't even pick up new books on Wednesdays anymore. Rarely. Like for the Batman 24 that came out, I picked up a set. Just one. Just because it was there, and luckily those DC books are kind of cheap, and but there's not much I kind of go and grab. But dollar bins is because it's easy. I mean, we're lucky to have those bins accessible to us. It would suck if it didn't. I don't know what I would do. I'd probably have to go online like other people have to, but. It's a lot easier just to go through a dollar bin and be like, oh, this is $30, this is $40, and just pull those out rather than waiting to see what they're going to do.
Right.
I mean, I have plenty of those books, plenty of books I pulled out from dollar bins that I think, I've kind of tucked away because I think they're going to go, like I did that with The Boys for a while. I had a bunch of, I used to see those in the dollar bins constantly. The Batman Archer 12, Batgirl 12. I've run into so many on the dollar bins of that book.
Yeah, the dollar bins by me don't have shit.
Yeah, that's my thing. It's been dry, and it was dry a few years ago. Now it is just the Sahara out where I'm at.
It's harder because the stores have gotten wiser. Like the one store where you used to be able, they had the best. All they did was just take their dollar bin, whatever they got turned into them, they would just flip through for like major keys that were noticeable, and then everything went to the dollar bin. And I was pulling out, $100, $50, couple $100, $50 books left and right. But now they hired someone to go through every single book and look every book up on eBay. So there's a lot. It's a lot harder at that store, but some stuff slipped by. Like I just pulled up, Silver Surfer 44 out of one of those dollar bins, which is, I mean, that's not crazy, but it's at least more than $1.
Yeah, I won't say I've sworn off it because I'll still go and dig around for a few minutes, but I just don't spend the hours and hours there anymore. It just doesn't pay off like it used to.
Sure. That's true.
There's probably 10 times as many people in the game, and the shops, for the most part, get smarter. Even the one that didn't really care a few years ago is somewhat caring now.
Yeah, it's what a buddy of mine was saying the other day. Not necessarily that it's too hard, but just everyone's into it, so it's really not as fun for him anymore.
Yeah, you can't just go out. I don't know that you could put an initial investment in and do like Ben is right now. I've been making steady money and just continue to grow. It's tough.
No, I can't imagine how people make a living selling books. It's a grind.
You have to just not care about the book, or as far as like PC care. Like
Right.
It's just strictly, boom, this is a $20, $50, whatever book now. Sell it, boom, don't care. 2 years down the road, it's a $500
Those are
book.
the dudes that
Whatever.
are miserable at cons. The ones that are have to make X amount just to make it worth their while.
Well, it's hard for I have PC books, and then I have books that are like really high grade that I want to get, either I want to get it pressed to get it up to a nice grade, or they're books I know I want to send in for grading. So a lot of those books are usually my more expensive books I bought at conventions, or variants I bought off the wall at on Wednesdays or something. So like that's the stuff that actually has money in it, but it's just sitting because grading costs are expensive. So it's like to get grading costs, you kind of have to grind. You know, that's the harder part, like of the hobby running itself. Like in order to grade stuff, I need to sell $700 worth of books, but all my best books are in my to grade pile. So it's like I either have to cherry pick one of those books, and which I hate to do because I know how much more I could get for them because they're perfect books. So I never move those for that reason, and it's kind of like I have to, like I've been bad. I need to sit down and grade. I haven't listed any books in about like 3 months. You know, one here and one there, but I have a stack of books I need to put up.
So, Ben, do you see yourself anywhere different in the next 2 years, or just take it as it comes, ride the wave, doesn't matter?
I don't think it necessarily matters. I mean, I like doing like Matt. I mean, I like finding those books, and I'll probably still continue to do it. I just don't go out as much as I used to, but
yeah.
But
it's all about the hunt, right? I mean,
yeah.
I know Trey hates it, like, you know, like, and a lot of other people hate digging through books. But if I see brand new long boxes, I get giddy. Like it's so much fun to dig through boxes you've never been through before.
Oh, I totally agree.
And that's part of the fun. And yeah, when you walk away with no books, it sucks. But because you're riding that high, you need that fulfillment.
You need your fix.
You need the fix. But yeah, for me, and it's almost like an addiction to like find those dollar bins. Like I know the one store by me, they put out their dollar bin books on Saturdays, after Saturday afternoons. So I have to find time to like either like beg to like, oh, I need to go run an errand, or you know, like it's hard because I know they're there. Like yesterday, I was like, I gotta go, and you know, I went there and dug through stuff, and I only walked away with one book. So, you know, what are you gonna do? You spent like, you know. I get the evil eye for leaving, and I come back with a $20 book.
Oh, I get the phone call while I'm still digging through boxes, and
I get those too.
All it is, and I don't answer it, and then like 2 seconds later, I get a text that says, "Seriously, is this what you're doing with your time right now?"
Yeah, Ben, we live the same world, the same life.
Apparently.
Yeah, like I get like even tonight, like. My daughter literally said to me, she was like, what's more important, going to dinner with your family or the podcasts?
Well, and then you had to explain to her time zones. And
I'm like, come on, guilt trip. She's not even old enough to understand the guilt trip, but
she's got it down though.
You know, she learned it from her mother.
I don't know. I mean, looking at our who's still here, Dino had to bow out, but I mean, I think at least publicly, Z has gone through the biggest change lately, it seems, as far as what he's been buying. So I don't know, John, what's your take on all this, if you're there?
Yeah. Truthfully, half the time I'm like, I'm selling it all and getting the hell out of it all because it makes you crazy. But I think honestly, I'm just getting more disciplined. You know, I went to half price books today just because I had a half hour to kill. I had to take my sister-in-law to the airport, and there was one right there, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just stop in. And I dug through the bins and pulled out some books, and then I looked at them all, and I'm like, I'm not gonna spend $20 to make $20 and just drop them all and walk away.
See, what's interesting to me, like how you and like Trey do it, like but you guys sit on, like you have a lot of books that you have a lot of money in them, right? Like you haven't just found them for $50, $20. You spent, hundreds to more on some of these books, right?
Yeah, I've spent some money on books, and initially, probably the first year to year and a half, I was putting in. I won't say a steady amount of money, an allowance, so to speak.
Well, like you get like birthday money and Christmas.
I told my wife, I'm like, every week this much is going. It's not a huge number, but over a year it added up, and I was buying. And then probably about a year and a half ago, I kind of got self-sufficient and just stopped that. I'd sell to buy. Not to say every once in a while I don't find something and go, listen, this is a great deal, I'm buying it, and we'll work out the details later.
Can you tell me how you did that? Because I need to figure out how to do that with my wife.
I don't know. You sell stuff to pay for things, and that's kind of where I did it. Is I, we had a vacation we wanted to take, and something in the house broke, so I sold the book and saved vacation, and an anniversary came up, and I bought something for her nice, and
sure,
doing it very selectively, as opposed to like just throwing money at her all the time. It was like hitting those key things when she remembers. Oh,
sure, yeah, that's a good point.
And it takes it from mythical money, living in these, as she calls it, newsprint.
Let me write this down. So when it counts. All right.
So I don't know. But again, I generally don't use real money on it. It's not like I'm.
Well, sure.
I'm anything I'm putting in, $50 here, $50 there. Every once in a while I've seen something that's like, this is a great deal, I have to buy it. She goes, are you gonna sell it right away? No, but I'll sell something else. I'll sell something else I feel better about selling. But I don't know. The industry is a weird industry, and it's escalating and it's changing, and it's just different than it was even 2-3 years ago, when you could go to the bins and pull out all kinds of $20 books, $30 books everywhere. I will go to shops. I went to 2 today and didn't get anything. I bought an Invincible trade because I finished the last one, and I bought a book to read, and I think that was it.
Well, you think about it, back before, say, CBSI started, before, like, when did we start? It was like 2013, 2014? 2013. Before then, why I found the site was because I was searching for speculation, and there weren't a lot pre-2013. Like Bleeding Cool used to do like this, and Newsarama did it too, but they'd have like these articles like books over $100 or books worth over $50, and that was the stuff you'd be like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna look for those books. But there was never a forum where like, hey, look how cool this cover is, or look how cool this variant is, and everyone should go get it. That didn't exist back then. So that type of, I guess that search pattern changed in the past several years. I
remember when the pickups page was public, and oh my God, my profile had, I don't know if it was several 100,000 hits or maybe even close to 1 million hits of just people looking at your pickups.
Right. I mean, yeah, the pickups were fun. They're a lot less. Even now, like I probably only show, a pickup once every 6 months. Because a lot of the stuff, like now, you kind of feel like you need to step up when you do a pickup page. Because when you see like walkers or
well, nobody can keep up with Walker.
But even that's a point, is Walker's pickups are not as awe-inspiring as they used to be.
No.
I mean, he still gets great shit, but it's not like 3 years ago where he's just raping and pillaging.
Where he's getting like 20 X-Men, Uncanny X-Men 510s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he hits some pay dirt, but it's not like it used to. So, and even everybody's pickups are just not the same.
Remember, like his first couple pickups were like, "Yeah, right, dude, get the hell out of here."
Photoshop.
Yeah.
If people want to change their game a little, from what John and I have talked about it, but finding really obscure stuff in modern books, like independents and even obscure image titles, like the first appearance of Danger Girl, first appearance of Witchblade, a lot of those. There's a lot of really rare and kind of fun books in that early image days, where you think it's impossible because everything was massively overprinted. But for me, I got into Image's first day of launch books that
Yeah, those are cool.
What's the store down here? Golden Apple. They did a first day of launch where they had all the creators on, the first day that Image came, for every book that would a new Image title, they would have the launch day at their store. So
Wow.
kick it off there. So they would do a day of launch certificate that's signed by the artist, and the book is signed by the artist or the creator. And so there was a whole series of them. Like I have Spawns, and I mean they're just really cool books because I think it's almost like a piece of comic history. I mean, it's one of the most important part of comic book history for us, like whether we realize it or not. But the dawn of breaking out of the big two was a really big deal. And from the books we have now, I mean, that is 100% due to the creation of Image.
Yep.
And I think people forget. You just go back to how much you lost when you would buying all those first number ones, thinking that they were going to be worth $1 million.
Yeah, that was just the times.
But even like some of those books are creeping. Like Spawn 1 is not a throwaway book anymore.
That newsstand is $60-$70 easy.
Like, yeah, I mean that's a really fun hunt. Now I used to pick up Spawn number ones wherever I saw them just for the nostalgia factor. But now I'm like digging through trying to find those newsstands and trying to find the ones without the black ink. Like those are really pricey books. To the Air versions. I mean, so there's a lot. If you change your game and look for stuff that other people aren't looking for, it's not only a lot more fun, but it's a lot more accessible. Because a lot of stores, when they get that stuff, what do? They automatically glaze over it like anyone else would. So your chances of finding those jewels are a little bit better than going through, Batman variants or something that everyone's paying attention to.
But then the challenge is,
I don't even look at like X-Men and stuff anymore.
Yeah, but the challenge, if you're trying to just do an obscure direction, is, am I buying nothing, or am I buying something that's going to be worth something someday, or is it just PC and it'll do whatever it does?
Well, I mean, a lot of people are moving to that. Like, if you know what you're looking for, a lot of that stuff is not, I would say, worthless. A lot of that stuff is, like a lot of those Image first day books. The Spawn one is really hard to find, and I think they've shown up on my comic shop. There might be one up there now for, I think, $150, $200. Just because it has a certificate, and that's pretty much the only difference for that book. And there's, first Danger Girl. I think there was like a Danger Girl preview book. Like there's a gold foil. I mean, those are like $40-$50. They're and those are books that you would find in a dollar bin, because I found mine in dollar bins because people see Image, or especially 90s Image, and it's straight to the dump. I mean, even at conventions, I mean, there was books I remember from like Dynamic Forces books. There's a lot of Dynamic Force stuff that pop up in conventions, and there's a lot of valuable stuff that came out from that site. It's a new field of research. So a lot of people don't know about it, and if people are looking for accessible, obscure, that's kind of where there's not a lot of competition in that realm.
You have to study more too, because it's not stuff you do.
Yeah, and you don't see it in pickups because a lot of people aren't picking them up. And why would you showcase a Youngblood 1? You just wouldn't.
You'd be more embarrassed to show it.
But like I showed, like I have the 3 copies of the first day of launch Youngbloods, because for me, like I was really excited about it, and a lot of people are hunting for them for the same reason, because Youngblood 1 is completely worthless. But it was one of my first comic books. I think I got for Easter 4 comics, and it was the first appearance of Carnage Spider-Man, so 361, 2, and 3. And then it was Youngblood 1. Those were like my first comics. So like Youngblood 1 is pretty nostalgic for me.
You know, it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that, Matt. Kind of along the same line is on some of the more modern stuff is like some of the stuff from the 2011 to 2014. Those like kid books that are like the cartoon, like the Adventure Time and
Sure.
those things. Just finding those a lot of times, most of those stores don't even. They just have their kids' books over in a separate area or something like that. And
look what's happening with Rick and Morty. I mean, holy crap.
Jesus Christ, I don't understand that.
I mean, the variant is hitting in like a near mint minus grade or near mint minus / 9.6 is hitting $1,500, $1,600, $1,700.
Right.
What about? I was going to ask Brian and Scott what their outlook is.
I'm kind of like similar to Z, but I basically go after like early Silver Age. I'm looking for like early DC Silver Age because there's just not a lot of that out there right now.
Did you dump any of your 300s or?
I've been dumping them slowly, one at a time. Just trying to bleed it out until I get close to the. Get closer to the trailer, really.
Do you have your one PC one that you won't do?
Yeah, my 9.8.
Is that your profile pick, the signature series?
Yeah.
Is that McFarlane or who signed it?
It's Stan Lee.
Nice.
Yeah.
Throw that away.
I know. You know what? It's the first book I ever got graded. I didn't know what I was doing.
Look, I mean, the signatures has an okay placement though, so at least
it worked out. At first I was like, oh man, I can't see it, but then I'm like, thank God.
Yeah, I can't see it.
And like say what you want about Stan. I mean, I completely get all the arguments against him and everything that he did through his career, good and bad, but the guy is still a legend and probably the biggest name of our time in comics,
I mean, it cost me $100 to get him to sign it, and it probably adds $300 or $400 to the value.
Oh, probably more than that, especially if he ever passes away. I mean, those books are going to be. I know those signatures are everywhere, but it's going to get to a point where people won't sell them because they're just going to dry up because people are going to know, well, this guy, I'm not going to get it again, and they're not going to move them. I mean, that's my theory. But there's plenty. Sure, there's plenty.
So I just think there's so many people getting them signed to move them at that date. So it is going to flood for a while.
Yeah. I mean, like, I didn't look. I meant to look on eBay and see how Adam West books are doing, his SS books, if there's been a flood of those.
Yeah,
nobody's noticed it.
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. I was kind of surprised. I mean, after Carrie Fisher passed away, there was kind of a flood. But for Adam West, I mean, even on the Facebook, couple of Facebook groups I'm in, I was saying that I've seen people post books, but it was kind of like, hey, I'll never sell this. This is my Adam West signature series, or this is addressed to me. So I think that's kind of classy.
And just searching online, there's only 24 SS CGCs.
Wow.
They're all like over $700, but
I did break my my don't buy SS rule the other day. I did get one in this week.
What'd you get?
Bozo the Clown?
Yeah. By the original Bozo. No, I bought a second Cardi. There, for some reason, somebody auctioned off 3 Cardi SSs of keys. There was a Teen Titans one, which I already had a copy of, and 2 Shazam ones. And the 9.6 went for almost double the blue GPA, and I got the 9.4 that went for pretty much the universal GPA. So I was thrilled.
That's
great.
Shazam, right?
Yeah, Shazam. It's interesting. I didn't think about the cover, but Cardi did the Superman, Beck did the Shazam, and then somebody else did kind of the filler stuff. So it was kind of a unique cover that so many people worked on. But yeah, and I found it even more amusing because I'm listening to Dino on the podcast last week saying he'd buy something like Cardi and I'm like, fucking watching this auction, don't bring attention to it. So,
Brian, did your microphone break?
No, I'm here.
I was gonna ask you what your.
I was listening to the wiser people when it comes to comic collecting, but
yeah. Well, I mean, I was gonna ask you. You might have a interesting take on it because you do your weekly pickups,
right?
As far as just maybe a more modern view on it versus maybe us who have been in it for a while. As far as somebody, maybe you could appeal to somebody who's newish, trying to get into it, kind of thing.
So, I bounce all over the place right now. It seems like I'm just kind of treading water where I'm not really on the hunt or buying anything. I mean, I buy for moderns. I do my weekly picks video, but I don't so much to speculate moderns anymore. Now I'm just buying the stories that I want to read. Before I pick out trends, try to find out what I think would be hot, and then of course I do videos about, especially like the pre-orders 2 months ahead through the previews magazine. I still think, hey, this will be hot, and that's why I do base my weekly picks videos on. But a lot of times I'm buying either Superman because I like the story, or I still like the Rebirth Flash. Haven't really been buying much of Marvel lately. I still buy some up just because, hey, I throw them up on eBay. But I'm kind of, like I said, I'm kind of backing away. I'm starting to liquidate some of my own books, build up my PayPal. And then I kind of want to do what Matt was kind of saying, start going back and researching, try to find some obscure stuff that not only that I like, but also from a speculation standpoint, try to find new trends or new characters or characters I think will be big. And then I'm basically reassessing, reevaluating, reloading, and then I'm going to start almost not from scratch, but try to pivot and go to a different avenue. But
yeah, I think it's kind of moving to safer stocks, so to speak.
Yep.
Well, not that I think it's all safe, everything I buy, but it's things that I will feel better about if shit goes to hell. I'll feel okay about it.
Buy what you like.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, oh, sorry, go for it.
From the big image spec a few years ago, I have a bunch of ghosted books, a bunch of, the stuff that at the time I thought was great buys, and now I got a crap load of books sitting in my filing cabinet that are good to look at, but I usually will go through them and liquidate them. I'll either donate them to like the library does kids comic cons. So if I don't think I can move them, I usually donate them. And unlike, I don't have the privilege of dollar boxes here, so most of mine's either web finds or every now and then when I go down to see my dad in Tampa, there's a comic book store. I forget the name of it, but they have a bunch of dollar bin boxes. And like you said, it's hard to find time to get away. So we went out and doing grocery shopping, and I was like, hey, I want to stop and look at this comic book store real quick. Well, you don't have much time to go dollar bin boxing when you have your dad, your wife, a 2-year-old kid at the time, and your mother-in-law, and the 2-year-old kid's already freaking having an attitude from like being parked. So yeah, I didn't get to look too much.
See, I don't like your commitment to it. You should have gone to the point where you got yelled at and everyone hated you for at least the rest of the night. That's what I do.
So
do it till you piss someone off.
That may be back a few steps, Matt. That may be why your wife doesn't get on board.
It probably actually is, because I'm like, I'll be back in 20 minutes, and 3 hours later.
At that point, she already expects you to make money.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I like the. Is this real 20 minutes or comic book 20 minutes?
You sound exactly like my wife. It's true. Yeah, I lose myself in like digging through comics. It's fun.
Well, in your head, it takes like 2 minutes to go through a box. When it's really,
it feels like it was
22.
yeah. It feels like it was 10 minutes and it was like an hour. Anyways.
Yeah, there's been many times I'm just like, you know what? I'll just meet you at the restaurant. Just go, and I'll be there.
Order me a burger.
Yeah.
and bring it home because I won't be eating it.
Send me a picture of the menu.
Just leave it on the couch because that's where I'll be sleeping.
You too? Oh man! So where did I leave off on Super Nintendo when I dropped out? I was like talking for a while too, and I was like, "Wow, everyone's really silent. They're really listening." I went into like reproductions. Then you didn't hear any of that, huh?
I think we were talking
No,
about
just-
Chrono Trigger.
No, that's where I left off. Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
I think reproductions. Did we ask that on air, or was that an off-air question?
I don't know. I
I
mean,
think it
it's
was on air.
Super Nintendo. That's the one drawback. Specifically, is highly there's a lot of reproductions out there, and they're really hard to tell the difference on.
Yeah, you know what? You were talking about the gold cartridges and whatnot, and someone asked if there were reproductions of those specifically, but I guess in general as well.
It's hard to tell. Like I was trying to look it up when I dropped out. Trying to see how to spot a fake between a pirated game, and it's really tough because they look identical. You can get down to the screws, but even then, sometimes it's the same. They look at the difference, like you look at the label and the millimeter of inches between the fraction of an inch between the edge of the label to the game. The only way you can really tell is if you open it up and look inside. Then you can tell the difference pretty clearly between an older.
Are they easy to open?
Yeah, but you kind of destroy. You kind of like not destroy the game, but you kind of
Plastic tabs and.
Yeah, it's not particularly.
Yeah, I saw this
easy.
video of a guy who bought an original iPhone, still shrink wrapped, for his YouTube channel. So he's reviewing it, and he put it inside a big X-ray machine. I don't know if one of his friends had a MRI or whatever, some sort of medical machine, and he put it in this thing, and he looked at it, and he determined that it was a fake because of what was in the box and where the phone was placed and whatnot. So it was a pretty good con. But I mean, people will go to the ends of the earth for $1.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, the one way you can do it is if you buy graded games, or like you said, even sealed. You expect that you're getting a brand new item.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about this graded games thing. I mean, is there just like the one company out there that does that, or?
It kind of looks like it. The VGA guys. Yeah, they look like they're pretty much it. And it's I've never done it before. I was looking into it a while back just to see how the grades work, and it's pretty much like it's on a different scale than say CGC. So it's like I think 8.
Is it like the action figure one?
Yeah, it's like an 8.0 is like near mint. An 8.5 is like 8.0 to 9 is like near mint, and then 9 and up is like near mint plus. So it's hard. Like, so I saw someone selling on like a Facebook group. They're graded 3.0. They're like they're 3. It was like a 3.0, and it was like they wanted $500 for it, but it was probably worth about $100 in the grade they had. But it was a Banjo and Kazooie sealed.
Now, I wouldn't imagine that the graded ones really carry that much more value.
They do.
They do?
They do. For let's do a comparison. We got Super Mario 3. I see an 80. So an 80 is like a near mint minus.
Mm-hmm.
That sold for about 590. So.
Wow.
So what do you search for? Grade like Zelda.
It's the same thing. You can put like VGA
or.
I see like a vintage original. This is surprising. Like a brand new Super Mario 3, $100.
Wow.
And so a graded one went for close to 600.
Now, graded, is that in the box sealed, or is that?
Yeah, they put it in
raw?
this like plastic case.
No, I mean, is the game itself
sealed? So yeah, it's sealed, not graded.
Okay.
So there's variations of like from being on the wall, they can get little dents inside. Even being shrink wrapped, there's still some denting issues. The box kind of caves in a little more. There could be some temperature issues, but like there's some moisture got in there at some point, or stuff can affect it even if it's still shrink wrapped. Someone could sit on it. But I mean, it's cool. Like there's Donkey Kong Country. I mean, even the obscure stuff. Like there was a soundtrack for Donkey Kong Country 2 that sold for $500.
Jesus.
I mean, Nintendo looking for old Nintendo games there's so much money in it. And it looks like people will still. I mean, like repro or not, people are still itching to buy stuff. I think it's a little harder to repro if you have the box and the little white box insert that Super Nintendos used to come in. The booklet. I mean, does it happen? I'm sure, but it's kind of I think it's a little hard to do. Did you guys ever play Clay Fighter?
No.
It's been a long time.
There was like a sculptor's cut, so it was like a like director's cut, but Clay Fighter sculptor's cut was a $400 game, just loose, no book, no box, just loose.
I was just looking up sold Pokemon Red and Blue. There was a factory sealed one, not graded, sold for $458.
Yeah.
Red. That's wild.
Like, did you guys ever play Captain Commando? I mean, he was in Marvel vs. Capcom games for a while. I think it was Marvel vs. Capcom 2. He was a pretty fun character to play. But his game from Super Nintendo, $360. I mean, it's crazy. If you recognize it, and even if it's not, like some of the most obscure stuff, just go for tons of money.
Is there any type of like? I mean, I know there's not really any guides anymore, but I mean, is there any type of websites that have like pricing or anything for these?
Yeah, there's a site that I like to go to. It's called racketboy.com. They have a really comprehensive site for a game, for all their games. So they'll go over the rarest games, games that have value, and they'll do raw grades to sealed grade, like still sealed in the boxes, like Super Mario RPG. It was one of the first Mario RPGs, but loose it's like $35, but sealed $300. Ren and Stimpy Buckaroos, $60, $120. I mean, there's Kirby Superstars. I mean, Super Double Dragon, $25, $30, $40. I mean, it's crazy. It's if you hunt a lot out in the wild, if you're at antique stores or swap meets, I mean, it's worth studying up on some of these, just because I see games all the time, and a lot of people don't know what they're selling, especially if they have big lots.
Oh, definitely.
And kind of like, if you guys have ever been to what's that? I'm blanking on the site, but it's a comic site for rare, hard to find comics. The
Recalled?
Yeah, Recalled Comics. I mean, that's a fantastic site. I've been meaning to do like an article called like Total Recalled about Recalled Comics, but there's so many good books on that. And those are books like, for example, the one that I have, Mission Impossible 1. Like you find a normal copy of that book, it's worthless. No one wants it. But there was like 2 rare versions. There was like the less rare newsstand, and then there's a super incredibly rare direct edition. I mean, it's just some of that stuff. Like when you're digging, when you know what page to turn to, or that you need to open and flip through to see if that book is that recalled version. I think that gives you another edge over other people flipping through dollar books.
Oh, for sure.
Like League of the Marvel Douchad for League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, I think number 4, right? If you know where to turn to the second to last page, you look.
Did we lose Matt again?
I don't think we lost him.
We did.
I think the podcast is just cutting him off when he just starts rambling.
We're going to have to chip in and get him some better Wi-Fi.
Son of a bitch. I'm like, I live in one of the largest cities in the world. I pay $150 for the fastest internet we can possibly get, and it's still shitty. Damn you, net neutrality. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Sorry, guys.
No, but I mean, there are some weird things you can find in some of those books, and the Recall does a good site, and I don't know, you always just stumble on weird stuff. My comic shop is good at you need to know what you're looking for, but sometimes I'm looking up a book and I go, wait, what's this other version?
Well, it's like what we were talking about a while back with the DC Universe variants.
Oh, yeah.
Not a lot of people talk about those, and there are certain books that we've been looking for that we can't find, but they're valuable with not even being known. Like there's only like a handful of people that know about them, and they sell for $100. But once everyone knows about them, then they're going to be harder to find and way more expensive.
Well, you only made me think about it. It was like Extraordinary Gentleman 1. There's I think it's Circuit City Edition or something.
Oh,
silly,
sure. Yeah.
Which you wouldn't even know the difference until you look at the front inside cover.
Well, one of the things I always look for, at conventions, they always have, for some reason, I see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, the original series, all the time, and I always look at the layered billboard in the back of behind the camper van, because that's the difference of the standard one is a good $50 book, but that white layered variant is $1,000. So it's if you see it on a wall at a convention and not a lot of people are paying attention to it, it's one of those books that you can stealth buy, I guess.
Yeah. The more you know.
Knowing that obscure stuff, it really makes a difference. I mean, price variance. How many people have glazed over a Star Wars 35 center? I'm sure some people have at some point, not knowing.
Those price variants are tough, man. I try to understand, and unless you just, I think, root memorize them, you can't do it.
No, I mean, even little things like how many copies of Spider-Man 1 were there, but you look at if you're flipping through and you look at, let's say you find one of the gold ones, that it's worth $1, but did you look for a UPC code on it? That's $100 book.
Did you find the ones from Todd's store?
Todd sold them on his store.
There's some with McFarlane signatures.
Oh.
Yeah, he's on eBay.
Yeah, he signed. I think it's the gold edition where he signed a couple thousand copies from his initial store.
Really?
Yeah, I mean they're not worth a ton. They're worth like 10.
Yeah, I was gonna say, there's one at my comic shop right now.
Yeah, it's not crazy pricey, but it's different.
But like other books, like And this is like before I really paid attention to obscure books, but books like Dreamwalker Zero, and
Oh, that one was a bugger to find.
Bestsellers One. I saw Dreamwalker Zeros all the time, and I never grabbed them because, you look at the book, it looks just like a crappy book, But then I find out later that it's a $200 book because it features the first appearance of Goon.
I'm waiting on bestsellers, I tell you.
Yeah, well, that was the archetype for Goon, right? Is it?
Yeah, the prototype.
The prototype for and how much does that go for? I haven't looked that one up in a while.
So it's floating around 75 to 100. The issue that seems to be holding it back right now is one of the other artists from that issue, had his stock, and he finally figured out what they're worth, so he's auctioned them off, and there's a steady supply hitting the market right now.
See, that's
I'm not. But that book was slowly creeping up, and then this, the guy discovered what it's worth, and he's selling them now. So I think it'll creep up again once that dries up.
Hello, this is Dr. Fraser Crane. I'm listening.
All right. While we wait for Matt's solar batteries to recharge out in California, I'll enlighten everybody with my Paul's Problems Hospital edition for my wife and I's labor, which I just
you already have a problem when you refer to it as your wife and I's labor. It was your wife's labor. You were there.
Paul struggled too.
I did. You know what? I stubbed my toe really bad just before we left. And it's all black and blue. It's still black and blue. And I was like, you're not the only one who's suffering. But no, of course I closed the link. I got it back up now. But no, so my wife's labor started on a Friday at 5 a.m. And so she was asleep when I woke up. So I went to work. I planned on coming home around lunchtime. Anyway, but she texted me saying, hey, maybe you should just stay home after lunch because I don't, second baby supposedly comes earlier and I don't know what's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. But so we ended up finally going to the hospital for the first time Saturday around 5:30 is when we left. So thinking upon our first baby, when we finally got there, I was really hungry. So I'm like, why don't we swing by the cafeteria first? Figuring that they wouldn't let her eat after admission. So I was thinking of her mostly, but
Mostly.
But we got there, and of course the cafeteria didn't open until 7. It's like, all right, fine. Well, so we went to the ER, and they just put her right in a wheelchair and brought her right up to the OB floor. So after she got strapped in, I was like, are you hungry for any breakfast? I'm going to run down and get something. So she wanted, simple, just coffee, decaffeinated coffee, some sausage, hash browns, and ketchup. That's it. So I went down there and I went to the grill for my own stuff. I don't know. I love breakfast when I don't have to do the dishes. Just give me everything. So I got over easy eggs on some wheat toast and bacon, yada yada. And then I went to the and then I don't know, scatterbrained a little bit. So then I went to the self-serve portion and got myself scrambled eggs, and then checked out. So after checking out, I went over to where they have all the forks and knives and napkins and shit, and then I got the ketchup, and I'm thinking to myself, that's weird. I don't know why am I eating ketchup again? I don't know. Pregnancy craving, I guess, for my wife. So anyway, by the time I got to the room, we opened up our styrofoam things, and I had 2 kinds of eggs for myself. I had scrambled eggs and over easy eggs. And then for my wife, I had a plate full of meat and toast with a side of ketchup with no hash browns. my wife's like, what the hell were you? What the hell did you think I was going to use the ketchup for? I was like, Dip your bacon in it. I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah,
I was waiting for you to say the baby was there when you got back from breakfast.
Oh fuck! No, that would have been bad.
You're like, shut up and have my baby.
Yeah, I guess. You put the baby back for a bit and start over? But so that was the first one. Was just breakfast disaster. I mean, my breakfast was good, but I fucked up my wife's. But so anyway, so Saturday, and we ended up going back. So they let us go home because things weren't progressed far enough. So we went home, and then we went back. Very early, or very late Saturday night, early Sunday, whatever. So after we were, gave birth and washed the grass off from the stream and all that stuff, settled back into our room. We really, honest to God, we almost dropped the baby because they have these new swaddler things. And we had company, and my wife was talking to the company, and we're unraveling her at the same time. And we almost dropped the baby. We didn't.
You mean you or we?
No, it was a we. This is an honest we. My wife was sitting on the bed with the baby on her lap, trying to get her changed in this new swaddling device that hospitals have. And I was standing in front of her talking to the company, and all of a sudden we all just had like a glass bottle rolling off the end of a table. Just everybody, my wife and I rather, just jerked like, oh shit. And so we got her. She didn't fall or anything. She just almost rolled a little bit too far to the side, but we saved her. But so breakfast and dropping the baby on its head. And you guys were joking about us bringing the wrong baby home. The nurse did bring in the set of twins, but the last name, we looked at the card, it said Kenyon. I had a CBSI shirt on, so it might have been the confusion, but I had to tell her, those weren't my kids. They didn't really look like they were from Oklahoma. So maybe we'll get more details on Wednesday, but overall, it was a good time.
Good time.
Everything was smooth.
I gotta say, truthfully, I don't think that's that bad, Paul. I expected way worse problems.
Yeah. No, I tried to keep my head down.
It's a good plan.
Hash browns and dropping the baby.
I think the worst thing you did was say our labor.
Yeah. Hey, man,
don't let her listen to that.
I did stub my toe. Shoot. Yeah, it was an adventure. So I'm blessed. I'm able to take 3 weeks off of work and hang out at home. So I'll be going back to work next week, and we'll go from there. We'll try to bring you the podcast in less than 2 parts this week.
Cool.
But
well, congrats.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I think everything's going good. We're getting an okay amount of sleep, and
is this kid number 2?
All the new parent stuff. Yeah, this is baby number 2. Last one, knock on wood. So 2 girls, and all's good, all happy.
Very good.
Don't let them tell you that 3 is as easy as 2. Bullshit.
No, I think it's nature that tricks you. The first baby is easy and nice, and then you're like, hey, 2 won't be too bad, and then we'll see.
It'll be your friends that go, just have one more, it's okay.
Friends of ours have a dog, and that's it. We envy them.
Well, you look at Impressible. Most of them are unattached, except for Coy, who has kids at home,
and Sean.
Well, Sean has his wife, but he's unattached during the week.
He's the most single married man right now.
Yeah, geez, he has something.
He has a pretty good deal.
Hey, Sean, you getting rid of your apartment when you get married? Hell no.
Don't talk crazy.
Some guys keep a secret apartment that nobody knows about. Sean's like, yeah, I live there all the time.
Oh man.
But my I don't know, where did you Where'd you skip out, Matt? Where'd the solar panels give out?
I don't know. Jeez Louise. It's like I don't understand why the internet. So I gotta call him. It must be because it's happened a lot lately. Just so I don't know. It's only one of the biggest cities in the world, so it doesn't make sense why we should have good internet.
Way. You're not trying to run on Wi-Fi. Oh, there he went again.
I think he's trying to go through Cody through Mel's neighbor's Wi-Fi.
That's what it is. He's got Mel's Wi-Fi.
Man, right on cue too. Jeez. And this is hardwired, so there's no reason. It's not even through Wi-Fi.
I love the hangout. I love the hangout chat. Is no one said anything. It's just Matt DeVoe was left. Matt DeVoe was joined.
Because it's never done it this like it's never done it like it did it like I think once last time. But lately it just drops out for no reason. It cycles through, which it shouldn't.
That's funny. You'll have to talk to Brian. Get your stuff figured out.
Well, it's stupid Time Warner or Spectrum, whatever they call it. They're the worst. So
Totally terrible.
I think it's time to switch to. Although I heard AT&T like FiOS is just as it's slow.
Did you guys ever see the South Park with the cable companies?
No, which one is it?
Probably. The people come in, they complain. They start like rubbing their nipples, and they're like, "Oh, you don't like it? Oh, we're sorry. Oh, you should just go find another company to deal with. Oh, wait, you can't because we're the only ones."
It's about right because we only had the one option where we are, which is just nuts.
No, I actually Bright House. I don't know, probably 10 years ago. One day they pissed me off. I pulled the boxes off my wall, drove to their location because it was like less than a mile away, and threw them on the counter like I'm fucking done. I'm done with you.
Was it Comcast who charged people for the devices after hurricanes that destroyed their towns and houses?
It doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, I was going to say something believable.
What's amazing, they charge you rent on those things that probably cost them $40 a pop to make.
40. They buy them by the friggin' truckload. They probably get them cheaper than that.
Well, the fact that they're like, "Hey, you want our business? Good. Hey, we're also going to charge you for that."
I have AT&T, and there's a $7 monthly rental service, whatever the hell they call it, charge. I'm like, all right, that's fine. You know, I can get my own router. And long story short, I can't. There's no other modem I can buy that's compatible, according to everything I've looked at. So it's just $7 out the window.
Yeah, it's balls.
Yeah, Google Fiber to the rescue, Adam, on the YouTube chat. I wish.
Google Fiber.
I'm waiting patiently. It's not Google, but somebody's putting fiber in my neighborhood. Like they've done the little red and blue flags up for wires and stuff. So
I have FiOS.
I'm crossing my fingers.
I have FiOS. It's not that great.
Google?
No, FiOS.
Oh, okay.
FiOS?
Verizon.
Verizon.
No, it's their fiber company. So I'm hoping that it's just somebody else.
Matt, you said Google Fiber like you didn't know what that was. Were you kidding?
No.
All right.
But no, is that real? Is that coming? Is that happening right now?
No, they pretty much gave up on it.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought Google Fiber was slowly spreading, at least.
The last place I remember hearing was like Boise.
The last place I heard was one of the Carolinas, wherever Duke's at. I don't know. I'm drunk. Don't ask me.
I thought I read they were like giving up on doing it some places.
I hope not. Yeah,
I think it's a bit of a pipe dream.
But for me, like, it doesn't make any sense. The internet should be trucking along, especially in a major city. I mean, I know that there's probably it gets bogged down maybe more in a major city, but it doesn't, like, it just goes in and out constantly, and it doesn't make any sense.
I just can't. I just don't get the data caps. I mean, your mobile phones, I guess it still doesn't make sense for the company. I mean, they don't pay really from my understanding, they don't pay any more, but they just charge you more for data caps. But your home internet, I mean, Jesus Christ.
Well, they're trying to do away with like net neutrality, and when net neutrality goes away, it's going to be awful. It's not going to be a pleasant experience, because then everyone can just charge what they want. I mean, you guys have heard about net neutrality, right? It's like, so basically the internet has everyone. You can't, like, if they, who am I talking about? Okay, so if AT&T has a deal with like Bing for some reason, they can, through AT&T, they can slow down every other search engine except for Bing, which will make go faster. So if they end net neutrality, that would happen. Where right now, if you use a server, they can't slow anything down on purpose. Does it happen? It probably does in some cases. And on a large scale, it still happens because we're in other parts of the world, the internet is immensely faster. Like in India, if you look at their speeds, it's significantly, like, crazy faster than ours, and it's purposely slowed down.
Yeah, so they can squeeze more money out of you.
Yeah. Well, no, it's weird. I don't know why. It seems like just bad business practice to get slowed down so much, but I don't know.
Well, they charge you the base rate for the 50 megs, and then
yep.
And
I guess that's true.
Incrementally charge you for more speed.
Yep. I mean, that's what we're paying a ton just for a fast internet, and look at what it gives us. It's just, it goes in and out, hardwired, and it goes in and out. It doesn't make any sense. Anyways, internet rant over.
Well, at least while you're still on.
I know, right?
I've seen a lot of. I'll throw out one more Paul's problems just to stick with my notebook, since the hospital stay was kind of unexpected.
Unexpected. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, no, she came a week early, which actually was a blessing, because right after I left, my work just got slammed. I mean, as if I were the court holding everything back. But
Paul's deceived.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've been slowing everything down. But anyway, so back when I was younger, in my hometown, they have these two quarries in town across the street from each other. Back when I was younger, one of them, the bigger of the two, was off limits to the public. I mean, you could sneak over there if you wanted to, but the smaller one was public fishing and all that good stuff. So I had my regular kids fishing pole up there with a couple of friends of mine that I grew up with. We weren't catching anything. It was midday, and just fish weren't biting. It was too hot out. We're like, man, we're bored. I wonder if we can fly fish with this regular rod, just dicking around. And so one of my friends started fly fishing, throwing it back and all that good stuff. And so of course, me being me, to get the best view, I stood right behind them. And so they're throwing the pole back, just dicking around. And all of a sudden, I just hear the reel go zzz, zzz, and something's pulling on me. And the hook had gone directly into my neck.
Oh,
right, like near my Adam's apple, and I'm just being pulled, like, just that. If you've ever been fishing, and you just know the noise that. All of a sudden, I'm just like, wait. So we had to take this barbed hook out of my fucking neck, and it's good times.
Now you know how the fish feel.
Yeah, pretty much. So that's our improvised fly fishing story.
Luckily, they didn't eat Paul after they were done, though.
Yeah,
right.
Don't stand behind
Catch
the
and
fly
release.
fisherman.
Catch and release.
Catch and release, yeah. Yeah, nowhere to stand when you're near a fly fisherman. But yeah, good times, man. Anything for entertainment, apparently.
Yeah, right.
But you guys got anything else? Wrap it up for the night or what?
I got nothing.
I'm good.
YouTube chat.
Yeah, there's not much.
I think we're good to go. All
Did
right,
you guys-
guys. What's that?
Did you guys talk about Wonder Woman at all? Did you guys see it?
Yes. Yes and yes.
All right.
All did
good.
not.
Oh no.
Yeah, I think Dino and I were the only two who hadn't seen it yet. But heard good stuff. I mean, maybe I might see that before Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and Ant-Man.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I need to watch this X-Men 2.
Yeah. Logan, that sounds like an X-Men movie.
I did just make my kids have my kids watch the original X-Men, and it was odd to see Hugh so damn young.
Yeah,
that was
the
what,
other
20
night.
years ago?
Yeah, I mean, he was a totally different looking person almost. He looked way less like Wolverine than he does now.
Yeah.
He grew into it.
It's true.
Oh, baby Jackman.
Yeah.
Oh,
Back when he only had one claw.
Well, his hair was like perfect. Like it was perfectly molded. It wasn't
He just looked young. It wasn't his chops were too clean. Like they tried to make him look bad, but they weren't. You know.
They beefed him up, though. I mean, him as an actor beefed up for the roles later on. I don't know if that was him and/or the directors, but
Well, that's why I think X-Men 2 is one of the best comic book movies still. I mean, X-Men 2 is just amazing.
I think that was one of my favorites.
Or like it opens up with like Nightcrawler going through the White House.
Yeah, I remember when that came out. My buddies went to see it, and they were like, "Yeah, those first 10 minutes was worth my entire ticket."
Yeah, it was. I mean, there was just so like when he goes on his berserker rage, and then you have Colossus meddling up. You know, there was so many cool moments.
Is that the one they were flying through the tornadoes?
No, that was 3.
Was that 3?
Yeah, don't think about that one.
Yeah, was that the dark? Because that was the Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, the half-assed Dark Phoenix.
Was it that one or no? Weren't they driving through? Yeah, it was the third one. I was thinking maybe Age of Apocalypse too, but no, I think that was just the Sentinels.
No, I'm looking forward to watching 2 with them because I think that's where that's kind of that high point prior to the Marvel universe.
Yeah, I agree. They're both really good, and then it kind of does what it does.
Or I saw some chart about like the X-Men movies and Logan and Deadpool, and like if you like X-Men, watch X2. If you like that, don't watch X3 unless you're just a masochist. Don't watch Logan. You know, it was like a draw charts of do this or do that. It was amusing. Yeah.
Kelsey Grammer as Beast. Oh man, I remember when he was cast as Beast. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Ow.
I've always looked at Frasier as a hero.
He's a great therapist. I call him every week.
That guy needs a suit
And fur.
and fur.
All right, we'll wrap
All
it
right,
up, guys.
Yep.
Thanks for tuning in and sticking it out through our solar power outages.
Yeah, sorry.
All right, guys, have a good one. Talk to you later.
See ya.
See ya.